Hey, folks, welcome to the Generational Gap. How are you all doing tonight? John, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic, as always.
The resident millennial.
That's me.
Representing.
Yeah, just what they tell me, at least.
Yeah,
Representing stuff.
you're representing something.
Neck beards everywhere.
Neckbeards.
Yeah.
It's looking especially robust this
Yeah,
evening.
you know,
I don't know what it
I
is.
just-
It's the cold weather.
I just put in some extensions yesterday.
Did
so
you?
it's a little,
It does
a little
look like
poofier.
that. There's a little more. Fuck! I can't believe I didn't talk to you about this off mic. God,
yeah?
it was the greatest thing. All right. Hey, folks, welcome to the Generational Gap once again. But anyway, I got to talk about this. John, your beard has spurred my memory. Went to the grocery store yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no racist intent or stereotypical intent to any of the upcoming comments.
Talking about one individual.
Two Asian ladies are
or two individuals.
putting their groceries in their car.
Mm-hmm.
One is, she might have been in her late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah.
The other was much older, looked to be her mother or grandmother, potentially. Very old Asian woman
Right.
with the longest fucking Fu Manchu beard I've ever seen on a woman.
Right.
I kid you not, John, the fucking thing was 6 inches long and went with her.
What the hell is that? Why did it just now start to like... I don't know if they can hear this, but... Wow, it just waited till just then. Well, there's a sneak peek of something we're going to talk about tonight, so...
Well, if
there you
nobody
go.
saw the fucking caravan coming, they haven't been watching.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyway, I shit you, John. I shit you not, John.
Oh, don't shit
6
me.
inches long on the beard, hanging down her chin, and had 2 to 3 inches running off in a mustache.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I tell my wife about this. She's like, "Are you sure it's not a man?" And so I studied this thing as we walked in, and Johnny was the freakiest thing. I did not know there were Asian dwarfs.
Asian dwarfs?
Female dwarfs have beards, John.
Oh, right. I thought you were saying like she was like short, like she had dwarfism, you know.
John, what do you know about dwarves? Anything?
I know that they're usually in the possession of a battle axe.
Usually.
Usually, yeah. Sometimes it could be like a single hand axe, you know, and a shield. It's pretty effective. Axes are good for ripping shields
And
out
the
of other
ladies
people's
have
hands.
beards.
Right, yeah.
John,
true.
it freaked me out a little.
Yeah.
It freaked me the fuck out. That's the second time in less than a year I've seen a woman with a beard.
That's really
Saw-
interesting.
Saw one 4 months ago in the fucking Walmart. Surprise. Walmart, gray hair, full-blown woman, full-blown beard.
Nice.
Like,
You know what's a
was
requirement?
arcing up her jawline, connecting to the fucking
It's actually a requirement at Burger King. If you want to be a manager and you're over 50, you must have a beard. As a female, you know,
Makes
the
sense.
females must have beards. I've never not seen one.
Now,
Never not seen like a shift manager over 50 who does not have some kind of, you know, facial hair going on.
Why? You're a woman. Now look, some will argue that maybe they were men.
Maybe
And I
they
will
used to
tell
be.
you now, I know how to spot the differences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been burned one too many times. You learn how to.
Well, I wouldn't call it burn. Things got hot. You know, things got hot,
yeah.
but I wouldn't say burn. Well, there were a couple. I do remember losing some money one night. But anyway. So, folks, I hope you're having a good night. Just to let you know, it's a little chilly here. So if it looks like I'm cold, I am, because I'm old and I don't get enough iron, or I'm depleting one of the two. And then John's got his neck beard on, so
Yeah.
he doesn't really get cold. It's like you're wearing a turtleneck
It's a
that
face warmer.
starts at your chin.
It's a face warmer, yeah.
Is that what that is?
It's also a flavor saver. I can save crumbs up and just every once in a while, just
Now, are
you know,
you,
little snack.
if your head eventually starts getting cold, are you going to trim some of that off and move it upwards?
Anyway. You mean like that one guy, you get a little magnet, pendulum, you just like move his, yeah.
Bill? Was it Bill?
I don't remember what it was called.
No. Wacky Willie.
Wacky Willie, maybe, yeah.
That's what, Wacky Willie. Men are not warmen. No matter how female a man may feel, he will never have a uterus. He will always have the Y chromosome. If you think facts are offensive, you have an extra chromosome.
I like that. That was a comment in the chat, not necessarily the views of the generational gap. But not necessarily not the views of the generational gap.
No matter how female a man may feel, he will never. You know, he could have a uterus implanted. You know, they do they fake wombs and shit like that. They're starting to do this shit to where men could conceivably carry a baby.
Yeah.
But you know what they can't get rid of? What's the one thing that they cannot get rid of?
The Y chromosome.
Yeah, that's whatever. Nobody's checking for that. I'm talking about so you know before you buy another drink.
The Adam's apple?
Adam's apple's always there, brother.
Yeah.
No matter how small and diminutive it might be.
Right.
It's fucking there. If you don't rub her throat before the night's over with one question in the back of your mind, you're a fool.
Yeah.
Hey, but anyway, we got some things to talk about tonight. We're going to be doing some updates. We've got a little bit of upfront updates on some minor stuff, but then we're going to throw some other updates your way. Probably going to talk a little bit about this Whitaker thing.
I guess.
Yeah, you know, Orange Man bad.
Orange Man racist.
And we're also going to talk a little bit. There was something else that had to do with that. Oh, yeah, something about the press. The DOJ and Orange Man versus the Acosta.
Yeah.
Did he Acosta somebody, or
he's gonna have to do all his reporting from Acosta Street now?
He's reporting Acosta. That's not original.
I didn't say it was.
Yeah, damn. See, I can always tell when you're not spewing originality because it's coming out of your fucking mouth.
Right, because it's actually funny.
Your lips are moving.
Right, it's actually funny. That's why you know.
Yes, that would be it. But anyway, there's a little bit of a change in pace on that. You know, the way the DOJ has come out about it. And then there's also been a little bit of a ruling on it as far as his past is concerned. But then we're going to talk about something else. What else are we? Something worldly.
Yes. Well, also, I guess we'll talk about some Brexit stuff.
Yeah, because
we've never really talked about international news too much, unless it pertained to the U.S.
Right. If it's not heading towards our borders, we don't care, right?
Well,
I don't.
If Brexit doesn't go through, though, we might find ourselves with a bunch of UK
I don't even know who he is. I don't even know who he is.
Who is?
Brexit.
Oh, yeah, he's this guy. Big controversy right now.
So that'll be interesting to talk about because I might get myself some education on
some education.
And after we talk about that,
Nice.
I think we need to talk a little bit about University of Texas. I'm a little pissed about this.
Yeah.
There's some shenanigans going on there that I want to raise a little bit of a red flag to.
Yeah.
And then we've got some discussions about a very sad topic this week for me. Not so much for you, John, right? You weren't a big follower, but...
Yeah, no, I never was. But apparently somebody died, I don't know, some Stanley guy. I don't know what his last name is, but...
Roper.
Some Stanley Roper.
There's a reference you won't fucking
You're
know.
right.
Damn. All right, folks. Anybody on the audience can give me the Stanley Roper reference. But Stanley passed away.
Yeah.
It's a sad day for a lot of us. Guy got me through a lot in my childhood. He really did.
It's a pretty common story, I think. Yeah. He gets
what?
That he was, inspirational to people and whatnot.
Well, He proved his value. He was out there for a couple of weeks. So why don't we get started with our favorite topic? We've got a caravan coming, John. Well, I think we do. I've heard rumors there were, but I haven't heard much on it from the people that matter for what's this 10 days? Ever since the 6th, we haven't heard a lot about it.
Yeah.
But,
well, we've been busy with Florida not being able to count So that's been a big issue in the media this week
It's
and
gonna
last
be
week
fuel for his fire.
for his fire.
Yeah, he's building it right now. That's why he's so quiet.
Talking about Trump,
Yeah.
who is both simultaneously an idiot and a Machiavellian genius.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their strong points. But the caravan has been on the move, but apparently about between 300 and 400 members of the caravan got an express ticket. They kind of got bumped to the front of the line. They had that fast pass like Disney kicks out. And so they hitched a ride with some folks and got up to the border. And now it appears that a bunch of them are lining up, ready to try and claim asylum the proper way. And but they're in Tijuana and they got to go somewhere. But apparently they didn't like where they were. So there's been some violence again with the caravan. Are you excited, John?
Yeah.
Doesn't violence excite?
Seems like the Mexican people there are pretty inhospitable to immigrants. How strange.
Now see that's I think that's racist, John. That's got to qualify.
It's got to qualify.
You can't be a hater on immigrants. It's Mexico, for God's sakes.
Right.
Who else is going to do the work that Americans don't want to do?
In Mexico?
Well, yeah, but this caravan's fucking up their swerve. It's like, dude, we were here first.
So who's going to do the jobs that Americans don't want to do? Americans who need jobs are going to do the jobs that Americans don't want to do.
Eventually, hopefully they will. I would love to see more of that. I mean, I'll tell you, it's going to start happening a lot more than you think. But anyway, members of a migrant caravan currently in Mexico clashed with residents in Tijuana on Thursday night after residents demanded that the immigrants leave public spaces and report to the shelters they're assigned to. The USA Today reported that Tijuana police were forced to separate groups of migrants and local residents who were marching through streets demanding police action. I have to say, it's ironic.
It is, isn't it?
Oh, actually, so this is showing at least 750 now. The numbers increased.
From 1,000 strong one, yeah. What did happen to Robert? That's true, Idjibi. We don't know. We don't know what happened to him. Oh, your camera's all fucked up.
Oh shit!
Fucking boomer! Jesus Christ!
You know what I think?
How professional!
Don't you ever? Haven't you ever seen Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Oh yeah.
They took my body, not my voice.
Right.
That was. I was looking for the light. Should I have been looking for the light? Anyway, so. That number's bumped up to 750 now that are in Tijuana, according to this. But they want them to obey local laws and regulations, adding that they can only provide assistance to the caravan if members follow guidelines. But one of the issues is that this is what Irineo Mujica said. That is Irineo Mujica, right?
That was white as fuck.
Hey, I'm just making sure I get the pronunciation. I don't give a fuck about having an accent with it. Irineo Mujica.
Now that was racist.
Now that's racist.
Yeah.
See,
no matter,
I can't win for losing.
Win.
For this reason, because this is oppression, we prefer to be in the streets, in the cold, rather than in a jail. Immigrant activist Irineo Mujica, who is working with the caravan, told the newspaper.
This is oppression.
It's oppression to ask them to go to a space to house 750 people that have shown up. Right. And so you want... You want them to just go ahead and let you run around like you're in Honduras. So this city should just have thousands of people descend on it and allow you to run loose and just spread throughout the city wherever you want.
Yeah, why not? And they should give them free food too.
Because?
Because they're immigrants. That means that they're oppressed. So you don't
No,
understand how
they're
this works.
migrants, John. You corrected me on this. They're migrants, not immigrants.
Okay, so they're migrants, right? Which equals oppressed people.
Why are they
And oppressed
oppressed?
people equal good people.
So because they're oppressed, everybody should just
Yes.
open their doors to them.
Yes. Well, not everybody. Not everybody. Just everyone who's not a leftist. Because they're not going to open their doors to people. It's someone else's problem.
The leftists or the right?
The leftists. The right don't want them to be in here at all.
Wow, I'm confused.
The
So
left
nobody
wants
wants them here.
Wants to let them in, but I mean, they're not going to give a room,
So
a
who
spare
wants
bedroom
them here?
to someone.
Who wants them here?
The left, obviously.
See, now you're talking circles.
Well, no, I'm saying the left wants them here, but they're not going to do anything to help them. But someone else needs to. But they're not going to take any action to do so. But someone else needs to help them. It's that whole, it's not my problem, but
why is it not
someone
important to the White House anymore?
I don't know. They're probably worried about other things, like, because they already sent troops down there, down to the border, right? So until something happens, what else is there to report on other than
750 of them have shown up. There's something to do.
Well, yeah, there you go. That's why you have this article.
Yeah, this is an article. This is not the White House. I haven't heard anything from the White House about the caravan for a little while.
I mean, whatever.
Even in the tweet storm.
Yeah, they're busy worrying about Florida not being an account.
But anyway, so that's the way it goes down in Tijuana. What remains to be seen is how much longer it's going to take for the rest of these folks. Maybe they'll time it so it happens on Thanksgiving.
That would be odd.
I guess we could ask George Soros. Apparently, he's supposed to be funding this whole thing.
Well, I mean, that's what I've seen. Is that there's 4 groups, and 3 of them are funded by Soros. So there's like 4 groups that organize these caravans, and 3 of them are funded by him.
And where are you getting that information?
I can't remember. So I'm not.
So out of your ass.
No, not out of my ass.
I'm just kidding. No, I've seen talk about that.
Yeah.
But it, my theory still stands.
What? Oh yeah. Our little conspiracy theory.
Trump funded it.
Trump did it.
Why wouldn't you look at him as being the one that funded it? He's the one that wants the wall. That's how you get a wall right there. Anyway, we'll see how it pans out. Hey, this guy, I had to laugh my ass off at this. John.
Oh yeah.
All right,
awesome.
So man crashes pickup truck into Mississippi courthouse. It's amazing. Why? Here it is. News outlets report that Gulfport Police Department said in a news release that 28-year-old Keith Cavalier told officers he intentionally crashed into the Harrison County Courthouse early Saturday because it was the best way to let them know his drug paraphernalia had been stolen.
Well, he certainly got their attention, didn't he?
He did. Except he did it on a Saturday when the courts are normally closed.
Right, but I mean, he had to get that stuff back, immediately.
His paraphernalia. He was charged with driving under the influence of what I'm not sure.
Yeah,
because he had no
I was
paraphernalia.
gonna say, yeah,
he had to be drinking.
How did he get high?
And then malicious mischief because of damage to the building. Is malicious mischief?
That sounds like that would not be a felony. That's really strange. Not like destruction of government property, perhaps.
Right?
Reckless endangerment.
Because it's not like it was just a
Some other
building.
Right. It wasn't just like, your gas station on the corner. Yeah, I don't know. It's
But
really strange.
really, dude? Deport that man back to Florida where he clearly comes. Very good, Midget
right.
B. Very good.
I was actually just about to make that same joke.
Oh.
Yeah, he clearly was, Florida man, but, lost his way, I guess.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
God, there's so many things I want to say about that, but all of them would insult somebody.
So?
And not necessarily him.
So?
But
insult people. Who cares?
I care, John.
Why? This is the internet we're talking about here.
Because you don't talk about the mentally challenged.
Why not?
when you don't know if the person's mentally well, he's mentally
obviously mentally challenged.
There's a difference between mentally challenged and mentally deficient.
Just stupid, yeah.
Deficient. This guy is fucking tarded.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, folks, for anybody I offend with that comment, but this guy is fucked.
Yeah, it's true.
What the fuck was he? What drugs was he doing? Because that wasn't somebody stealing his drugs. They were doing his ass a favor.
Yeah, right. That's funny.
That's a favor.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of doing somebody a favor, I came across this on BuzzFeed. I thought it was kind of funny, so I thought we'd just run through a couple of them because, number 4, I told you off mic.
God,
number 4
yeah.
was
So we're about to take a trip into shit that never happened land.
Well, this was, something that BuzzFeed pulled from Reddit over the weekend. Reddit user Chip Dumper asked people to share their most memorable story of petty revenge.
Yeah, they're both excellent sources, Reddit and BuzzFeed.
Hey, it's humor. Humor I like.
Whatever.
I like this pumpkin payback. This was nice. Guy kept running over this guy's pumpkin every fucking Halloween. So he got a big-ass pumpkin, filled it with fucking cement, and broke the dude's fucking axle when he ran over the fucking pumpkin.
Yeah.
More power to you. If that's not real, great. But add that to the list of shit that I would be willing to fucking do.
What we should pull up sometime, there's a bunch of videos out there of people who would, try to steal Trump signs out of people's yards. And, this one dude electrified his. So every time someone would grab it, they would shock themselves.
Nice.
And, yeah, it's pretty good.
So there was the party pisser. This guy was tired of his neighbor throwing loud and obnoxious parties. So the next time he threw one, he had a pizza pan, pissed in it, and froze it.
Yeah.
Then when he was having the party, slid it under his fucking door right in the foyer, and listened to the guy rail at his fucking guests the next morning that had crashed there, trying to figure out who the fuck pissed all over his carpet.
Yeah, see, I find that really hard to believe.
Hey, only because you can't imagine that somebody wouldn't have fucking weather stripping on the door.
I mean, I guess.
Coworker owed me $50, refused to pay. I reduced the email storage capacity to hold only around 10 emails. That's nice shit right there. Reduce their email capacity. You know how many emails I get on a regular basis, right? Reduce me to 10. I'd be like, fuck. But that takes care of all the archive shit, all the old shit you're keeping and everything. Yeah. So it's like, you got 10 emails? Fuck you.
Didn't happen either.
Huh?
That probably didn't happen either.
Why do you not believe anything?
Because I've been...
People can be creative.
Yeah, they can be, but, these things happen so rarely that, you know what I mean? To have, this many people, or this many, things happen, it's just, no. I'm sorry, but no.
Like this
There's
lady.
so much bullshit out there that it's better to assume that it's bullshit rather than, just agree that it exists.
So,
chances are better that it didn't
the ketchup
happen.
counterattack.
Woman
kept throwing her lunch out in the other lady's garbage by her desk. So, but because she can't stand the smell of ketchup, so this lady, in retaliation, she keeps hiding her little bottle of ketchup in the back of her drawer, so she has to replace it, and or little containers.
Yeah.
And so it's been like, what is it, a month? The oldest one is over a month old. She says she hasn't noticed the smell yet, but eventually it'll get to her.
Yeah.
Maybe. So she said there's 6 back there now.
A quick aside though. I told you this off mic, but I want to tell it now.
Yeah,
my parents were telling me a story, so I have more reason to believe it. That in their neighborhood, there was this one lady, one of their neighbors, lets her dog just shit on everyone's lawn, all the time. Never shits in her own lawn, always goes to other people's lawns. And so another neighbor got pissed off that, the dog kept shitting on their lawn. And so every time the dog did that, he would go out there and, grab the shit and put it on her windshield. Every single time. No bag, nothing like that. Just would put the shit back there, right on the windshield. So I thought that was pretty funny. It was a good little story. That is something that actually happened, unlike these.
Yeah, see, that's kind of like the shit storm here. Guys is telling his dog to always getting his dog to go on the other guy's lawn. So he gathered all the shit for a week, and then that day shit went and piled it all over the other guy's lawn. So he says the dog stopped shitting in his lawn.
I bet he did.
Fuck.
Yeah. No, it works.
You know how much a dog shits?
Yes, I do.
Especially a week's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of shit.
Yeah.
What was it? This popcorn baby. I don't know. Do they have these? Do they have USB sticks that emit a smell like fragrance USBs now?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
She she must have been a millennial or Gen Z. She's entitled bitch, and she got popcorn banned from the office. And so he got a USB stick that smells like butter popcorn, plugged it into the back of her computer.
Nice. For 6 fucking months. And then the whole office clapped.
Right? Probably one of these.
Yeah, little slow clap. And the whole restaurant clapped.
Way to go, Paula! Way to go!
Right.
Do you know that reference?
No, I'm not ancient.
All right, is anybody... Number 4 will blow your mind.
No, it's a joke. Don't worry about it.
Wait, that's a joke?
That's what these lists always say when it's like,
gotcha.
25 things.
It
blah,
was
blah, blah,
number
blah.
4. The piss was number 4.
And then it'll be like number 7 will blow your mind just to get you to click on the link, so you'll go and see it. And the number 7's always on the second page, so they get another click on their ad, shit. It's a bunch of bullshit.
I like this one, but this one's not new. I've actually seen somebody pulling this shit on somebody else. Throw birdseed on somebody's car.
Oh, right. So the birds
while they're
shit
gone
all
for
over
a while and get birds shitting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some awesome stuff.
Yeah.
It really is.
I mean,
that's the kind of shit I like.
Bullshit.
Hey, but we'll have links for this shit.
And then the birds clapped.
We'll have links for this shit in the comments section or whatever section it is.
Description.
In the links, the description. Yeah.
Learn how to you do.
You know what, John.
You gotta do
John,
like the Philip DeFranco thing where
John,
you're like,
John,
click here for
John,
this.
if I say John
Click here
enough,
for this.
your point doesn't matter.
No, it's not true.
It's
My
true.
point is the best point.
I know a communist that would disagree.
Yeah. Well, he would disagree about everything. So he would disagree that the sky is blue. So.
No, it's
Yes,
a
he would.
Cerulean.
Exactly.
All right,
We
so
can argue minutia for fucking 3 hours.
speaking of petty,
Petty. Oh, look at this. Orange Man Bad. Preface this. Trigger warning. Orange Man Bad.
trigger warning, yes. So we talked about Acosta last week. Thought it was interesting and everything. Well, even more so this week. Fox News. Our friends at Fox News, the Trump propaganda machine, has come out
now we're all
with
uneven. Damn
CNN.
it.
No, I want us uneven. I should be over you, John.
Psh, bitch.
Until you start swallowing.
Whatever, bitch.
But anyway, is Fox News, among many other news outlets, are backing CNN in saying that the White House should not have taken Acosta's press pass away, that it stepped on his Second Amendment right.
His Second Amendment right?
The First Amendment. The right to bear arms.
He was wearing a suit. Right,
That's
so he
right.
did not have bare arms.
So if he came in a tank top, it would have been Second Amendment.
He would have been fine, yeah.
I meant the First Amendment because, I probably shouldn't smoke that many beers before we start.
Right.
But,
Drinking marijuana.
not only did Fox come out on the side of CNN, but they also, went a little further. Woo! And they said Secret Service passes for working White House journalists should never be weaponized. Weapon
I disagree
of
with
press destruction. Because the way they did it.
Dead air.
That was the wrong way to have handled it. It makes it look like they were doing it for petty reasons.
Yeah. Like I said, they shouldn't have tried to go for the whole he assaulted her thing. They already had the high ground, and
they could have taken high
by
ground.
that.
However, because of this,
I mean, Jesus, that's like moving your infantry off the hill to go and charge the enemy. No, let them fucking. You had the high ground.
But
Keep it.
see, here's where they give the high ground. Is when President Trump comes out and says, we are going to create rules and regulations because a judge has said that there is a stay on this, give his press pass back until a final ruling can be made overall. And Trump has pointed out, he did it himself. He said it's not a big deal, and he told this to Fox News. What they said, though, is that we have to create rules and regulations for conduct, etc.
They actually spelled out etc. That's interesting.
Right. Well, he's a genius.
Well, he didn't write this article. I'm just saying.
He may have said
etc. Well, no one says et. They just abbreviate. I'm just saying. Just an odd choice.
This is CNN. They want to make sure everything is correct.
Yeah.
They don't want to be accused of fake.
By the way, I saw that subtle white power symbol that you just gave me.
God, I can't even say okay anymore.
Nope.
Fuck.
It's white supremacy.
It's a perfectly normal thing.
Nope, white supremacy.
Jesus Christ. We're going to write them up. It's not a big deal. If he misbehaves, we'll throw him out or we'll stop the news conference. If he misbehaves. Good. You want to treat him like a child, fine, but have rules that he needs to follow. An aggressive reporter is an aggressive reporter. I don't give a fuck. Yeah,
he was throwing a tantrum like a child.
He may have been grandstanding, but Trump just doesn't like it when somebody grandstands above it.
Well, yeah, that's his job.
And he doesn't like CNN.
He doesn't like competition.
And he says CNN is the worst fake news.
They are, to be fair. No, I don't know if they're the worst, but like out of the big cable companies, they are.
Okay.
But like people like Huffington Post and
because Fox News is
Salon. I don't know. Is Salon still around?
But we're going to say Fox News is so credible.
I don't think they're any more credible than anyone else.
But they're a propaganda machine for Trump, whereas CNN is a propaganda machine against Trump,
right?
Which makes them equals.
Yeah.
And so, if one is not fake news, the other can't be fake news. Or they both must be.
I think they both are, yeah.
Okay, but Trump doesn't.
Okay.
And it's because of that we know, because of what he's obviously, whatever they're willing to say, that he's going to do this for personal reasons, or at least expose personal bias in doing it the wrong way. I would have been fine with him calling foul, and we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Yeah.
But to say what they said he did, it's fucked up. And they should give him his press pass back because it makes it look like you're squashing on his First Amendment rights.
Right. Which, I mean, it's not. We talked about this a little
bit
off
But if you
mic.
weaponize an action that didn't occur, then you are clearly showing that you're doing it for malicious reasons.
Right, but again, that's not why it was taken from him. It was his constant disruptions that got it taken away.
There's no rule against it. Look right there.
Yeah. I know.
That's why they're going to institute them now, because there is no rule against being an aggressive reporter.
Right.
And when you squash them with bullshit and personal intent, fuck you. You're stepping on the First Amendment.
I don't think it is. It's not stepping on the First Amendment. He's not stopping him from
They tell
speaking.
reporters to do whatever it takes to get the questions answered.
And he got two of his questions answered, and it was on the third one that it became a problem.
Third time's the fucking charm.
That it became a problem.
That might have been
he got
the
his
question.
questions answered. He should have asked that one first. If that was the most important question, he should have asked that one first.
But did he?
What?
Maybe that question was necessary in regard to the other two.
I don't remember what it was.
Maybe people wanted to hear the answer to that question. If there's a one question limit, fine.
Yeah.
That means
I think
then everybody adheres to that. And if Fox News stands up and wants to ask you 6 questions and you let them because they're Fox News,
yeah, you shouldn't do that. But you should be consistent.
You don't think he plays favoritism?
I think what it normally is that you get one question and a follow up if if necessary, but no more than that. Is typically how it goes. So, but do I think he shows favoritism? Yeah, I do.
And
I mean, he's a egotist. So whoever strokes his ego, he's obviously going to show preferential treatment to. Whether that's right or not is
right. But how many rights make a wrong?
I know that 2 rights make an airplane.
Made.
Yeah. That's one of those dadisms that my dad always said. 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 2 rights make an airplane. Yeah.
I thought you didn't like those.
What? Dad jokes? They're pretty awesome.
Dadisms.
Yeah.
We were talking about that off mic. I'll do that when I get around to it. Well, here's your round to it.
Right. And then my response to that is my dad always said never take wooden nickels. So
right.
I wouldn't take that.
But it wasn't a nickel.
I know. But whatever. I would extrapolate that to mean all coins. Don't take wooden coins.
Why would you do that? Why would you come from a generation or be part of a generation that needs so much literal specificity and then just assume that every coin is a nickel? Oh, that's right, because you don't know how to fucking deal with money. That's your problem. That's what it is.
What?
You fucking entitled piece of shit.
Wow. Wow, all the fucking animosity. Holy shit.
I don't know where this is coming from.
Yeah, no, jeez. I mean, are you okay?
With my camera, though.
Are you okay, Robert? Who hurt you, Robert? Who hurt you?
Your mom. All right, fine.
You? Robert, it's not.
She broke my heart, John.
It's not your fault.
She broke my heart.
It's not your fault, Robert. Robert, look at me.
John, don't make me cry.
It's not your fault.
Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry in front of an audience of 1.
Of 1, yeah.
But anyway, so he's going to get his pass back, and everybody says he should, except Trump and, well, that poor aide that was accosted. I mean, she's...
Oh, yeah, that
Have
poor
we heard
girl.
from her?
I don't know.
They should have got her to...
Yeah.
Ooh, that would have been fun.
Because that's going to be really, like, intimidating, to be, first of all, in front of the president, and then, this big, press briefing... And then, you're just an intern. Like, what was she, like a 20-year-old intern or something like that?
Yeah,
like,
she's just trying to get some
So she's trying to do her job. And then, as soon as, he doesn't let her grab it, and she looks at Trump like, oh, what do I do?
Right? All she's really worried about is doing her job.
Right.
And keeping her blue dress handy.
Exactly, right. Yeah, exactly.
She shows semen better than... She was wearing red that day, but semen shows better on blue, I believe.
Probably.
I think.
I don't know. I haven't tested that.
It's the Monica theory.
Yeah. I usually don't do my business on people's clothing.
The intern was really cute.
She was kind of cute,
porn.
To be fair.
Nice midget.
Yeah.
She may go into porn. I wonder if she's going to get a book deal off this.
She probably could.
Yeah.
She could probably do like a Jim Acosta and intern porn,
Smacking the intern, make it a little BDSM angle.
Yeah, that could work.
Intern.
That would get a lot of people riled up too. They would be all pissed off. There's a Sarah Palin porn out there.
Speaking of beating your woman.
Oh yeah. Are you talking about Avenatti?
Avenatti! Wow. He's a fine, upstanding young man. Standing up for women, making sure that women are heard. And,
the creepy porn lawyer.
And it doesn't matter if she's a porn star. She deserves to be heard. And then gets home and says, shut the fuck up, bitch.
Yeah, right. Gotta keep her pimp hand strong.
Keep that pimp hand strong.
Have you seen, I want to do a quick aside here. There's no matter what you think of Tucker Carlson, right? He did something that was hilarious.
No.
When he had Avenatti on, and he was like, "Okay, we're going to be respectful. He's someone who's known by a rather inappropriate nickname, but we're not going to use it here." So he didn't use it during the whole interview, but on the bottom, where it says like who the person is, it said, Michael Avenatti - creepy porn lawyer. So like it said it on the thing, but he didn't say it once. So,
wow.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty hilarious.
How do you get away with that?
Well, he can't see it. He probably can't see it on whatever screen he's looking at.
Yeah, but don't you get to like sue for defamation of character after that?
I mean, he is.
If you're a lawyer,
he is creepy, and he did defend porn. Porn star.
Wait.
He is.
He's a fucking
creepy.
Lawyer. Of course, you should go after defamation for something like that.
That's so hard to prove.
Why would you be a? No, it's not. There's video.
Yeah.
Prove I'm creepy. Prove I'm not.
You can't. That's something that's subjective. But I mean, if you just look at him, I don't think it'll be difficult to prove that he's creepy. Plus, he, allegedly hit his wife. So that's already pretty creepy.
Well, that was after the fact.
Yeah,
with Tucker
it was,
Carlson,
yeah,
right?
it was after.
So anyway, maybe they were arguing about that. God, you're so fucking creepy. Don't call me that. I had enough of that from Carlson. Bah!
Yeah.
Dude, from the comments, David Pakman was so quick to call it's a right-wing hoax. Meanwhile, most of Kavanaugh's accusers, who we should believe, have recanted. Shill's gonna shill.
Yeah, that's unfortunate about David Pakman, because like I used to enjoy his show back in the day. My favorite one was when he had was it Shirley Phelps Roper on from the Westboro Baptist Church, and some like anonymous basement dwelling neckbeard on because like apparently they were being accused of having like hacked their website. Oh no, they had like put out something that was like to attack them, saying, oh, go fuck up Westboro Baptist Church. And they were saying, like, no, we didn't do this. Like, that's ridiculous. None of the people who usually do this, were doing that. It, didn't follow the normal procedure that they use.
Right.
And so during the conversation, he's like, go check your website. He's like, I left you a little message there. So, like, he had hacked into the Westboro Baptist Church website and, like, changed it around and did some, hilarious trolly shit. Like, live on the air. He's just like, yeah, while I'm talking to you, like, look how easy it is. Like, if we wanted to do this, it would have been done. It wasn't us. You guys just made that up. But, yeah, that was a pretty good little thing. But now David Pakman is just like the quintessential left-wing shill. Like, he's just total apologist. It's really unfortunate because he used to be really reasonable.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think Kyle Kalinske is moving that way, too.
So I thought the red pill didn't wear off.
I don't think he was ever red pilled.
Really?
I think he was actually just blue pilled.
Just overall, like
yeah.
it just took time for it to really kick in.
Right. He got TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, and then just kind of goes downhill. It's a really fast-acting disease. Spreads pretty quickly. Very aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well. I don't think that anything else is going to come from this Acosta thing, other than some rules or regulations.
Right.
So, justice in a sense has been served. I still think it's pretty shitty what they pulled, but,
I just think it's shitty that they tried to be like, oh, he assaulted her. They didn't.
Right.
That was not necessary. It's obvious that he wasn't trying to hurt her or anything like that. It was just a movement of the arm.
Right. But, Trump's never been one to make any doubt about how he would love to control the media. I mean, you can tell he would love to be able to control what goes out there.
Yeah, maybe.
He would.
I don't think so. He hasn't made any moves to try and nationalize the media,
No, but he sure does like to find ways to get his way.
Well, yeah.
Enter fucking Whitaker.
Whitaker. Not Forrest Whitaker.
So, apparently, the Justice Department is now coming out and saying that not only do they defend the Whitaker appointment, but they actually came to Trump before he gave him the nod and told him it was okay.
Yeah.
Why would the Justice Department can make that assessment over the fucking Senate? Something that's built in as a confirmed position.
Yeah.
So
so I'm not super familiar with like the different procedures with how to go about appointing a new Attorney General.
Right.
So
he's got to go before Senate confirmation.
That'll be fun.
Wait, you mean the executive can appoint his own employees?
Yeah.
Yes.
Strange.
He can appoint, but they still have to go through a Senate confirmation to be appointed, much like the Supreme Court. He can't just throw them in. They've still got to be confirmed. Kavanaugh showed us recently what that can be like, right?
Oh, yeah.
That confirmation is supposed to happen, and the Attorney General is a position that is supposed to be confirmed by the Senate.
He's just the temporary Attorney General, right? So then he does have to go through that, but
tell
he gets
yourself
to work.
Temporary.
I mean, I'm just saying.
A lot of people think Trump's a temporary president.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's literally Hitler.
Calm
Cheeto
down.
Führer.
You can't say things like that.
Cheeto Führer and small hands, PP doo doo, Orange Man bad.
So the Justice Department on Wednesday vigorously defended the appointment of Matt Whitaker to serve as acting Attorney General, saying that the selection was entirely legal and that the White House was given that advice beforehand. Stephen Engel, Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Legal Counsel, said in a 20-page opinion that his office told the White House before the appointment that the president could designate a senior Department of Justice official such as Whitaker as acting Attorney General. So my question would be this. Why wasn't that part of the reason when he was appointed? The Department of Justice has cleared me to go ahead and temporarily appoint Whitaker.
Yeah.
Why?
Why not?
Because this didn't come up till well after the question of its legitimacy, and that people were coming out and questioning the legitimacy of Whitaker being in that position in the first place, basically saying that he wouldn't be able to make it through a confirmation.
I mean, he probably wouldn't be able to make it through a confirmation hearing without 16 sexual harassment allegations coming up out of the woodwork.
He's got business ethics issues that speak against him. This is some of the stuff that's rolled out about Whitaker, is that there are issues with financial situations that he was implicated in. With one was a company bilking money from people, this kind of thing that he was associated with, something to that extent, whatever. But saying that he would probably not sustain the position through the confirmation. But for Trump to put someone into that position who has specifically come out and said that, the best way to deal with Mueller is for someone to be in the position of Attorney General and just choke the money for the investigation until the investigation was
has he done
petered
that?
out. Anyway, no, he hasn't done much of anything because he's letting the smoke clear. Somebody to say, yes, this is okay, which the DOJ now has. Now, from the Department of Justice standpoint, maybe, I could say, okay, yes, they can come out right now and say that they've gone through constitutional law, which is their job, and looked at it and said yes. And they even claim now that this has happened upwards to 160 times, potentially, while other sources say this has been a very rare occurrence, something like this happening without a full confirmation going on. But if they told him so before he gave the nod, then they've already done the due diligence, and there shouldn't have been this much gap. It should have been part of the nod. That it was said the Department of Justice has recommended that I put Whitaker in place.
Right.
But nobody even alluded to it. Nobody said anything about it.
I don't know. That's not something I really care about, I guess. I mean, it's just not something I've followed.
It's
or anything
the
like
impact that he can have on things that are going on with Trump before the new House representatives come in, the Democrats, before they take seat at the beginning of the year.
Right.
This is another one of those things where he's putting potentially one of his puppets into play in a key position, and he could be in this position for months before someone else is found or a confirmation is brought forth on the guy. I mean, do we want still another representative of our government in Trump's pocket?
I mean, that's what's going to happen. Any kind of appointments that he makes, it's going to be somebody that he wants, right? And he's not going to want someone who's going to try and stall him and stop him from doing things that he I mean, what president would pick someone like
the
that?
country held their breath when 3 ribs cracked.
Yeah,
they did. They were, oh shit.
He might get a third, right?
That would
Third
be
Supreme Court.
I mean, that would put the Supreme Court in a position to where it would be decades probably before there could be a Democratic swing. It would be 6-3 Republican at that point, wouldn't it? Because we're 5-4 now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's.
So if Ginsburg were to pass away, which kind of morbid as it sounds, she's next on the list.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
You don't want that.
Well, the way I look at it,
I'm not a big fan of it either because the Republican Supreme Court seems to have a lot of issues with like the Fourth Amendment, things like that. So especially Brett Kavanaugh, I'm pretty sure he's the one who he co-wrote the Patriot Act, which is a pretty awful thing.
It's some scary shit.
Which is something that would have been good to come up, in his confirmation hearings, but we were too busy, talking about shit that didn't happen land. So, nothing of substance was mentioned.
Well, yeah. I mean,
that's the fucking Democrats' problem, though. That's the fucking Democrats' problem, is that they can't attack people on issues. They have to be like, oh, well, you said something racist 20 years ago or, 50 years ago, or, you were accused of sexual, misconduct.
Well, sure.
40 years ago, or I guess it was 30 years ago, but,
Yeah, but
whatever.
You act like don't say it's only one side. Both sides do shit like this. I mean,
it's an issue, no
God
matter who
forbid
does it.
should the top seated Republican in this country doctor a fucking video.
Yeah.
And make a false accusation against the press.
Yeah,
I mean things like that.
All these false accusations are bullshit.
Yes.
I mean,
it's a shit show
right.
of bullshit.
Instead of being like, look, Jim Acosta was a piece of shit, so we kicked him out.
Okay.
That's it. Instead of being like, oh, look, he assaulted her. Now we're gonna walk it back and be like, oh, well, he's just been an asshole.
Like if they had said, Brett Kavanaugh has had some questionable policy decisions, writing the fucking Patriot Act. Yeah, it would have made a fucking difference. Yes, both sides keep putting up this bullshit.
Yeah.
That they're just trying to play on the stupidity and the emotion, the fear, whatever you want to call it in America.
Yeah.
What does Midget say? Gee, what a shame Senate Dems changed the rules on appointment because they would never lose power, right? Hey, yeah, it's,
Yeah, it's true. They set the precedent on pushing, judiciaries through.
It's,
or not judiciaries, judges, Supreme Court judges. I'm not sure if that's the right word. Whatever. I don't know. Words are stupid. Who needs them?
So now, but now there's little things like this, okay, so who does take over? Well, Rod Rosenstein was the Deputy Attorney General. Why wouldn't they have put him in place? Why do we nod to somebody else? It's that kind of thing.
It's because Trump is anti-Semitic.
It's probably not far off. Well, you said he's Hitler, so, we know how you feel.
He's not just Hitler. He's literally Hitler.
Literally?
Literally Hitler. And I'm literally shaking because I'm furious.
Oh, John.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, it's just another one of those things. It's just, it's stacking the deck against America, in a sense. Playing these games and doing these things and, tying up all our bullshit with bullshit.
Yeah.
This harkens back to just the whole, left and right bullshit. How many times has the government nearly gone into a shutdown or has gone into a shutdown over the last 2 decades?
You notice how when the government goes into a shutdown, nothing happens? It's weird. It's almost like we don't need, the government to be around all the time. All the time.
I don't know. Let's see.
I mean, I'm not talking about anarchy, but, obviously we don't need every aspect of our government, do we?
Well, I don't know. Let's ask the UK. They thought something to that extent.
Yeah, let's ask the UK how well, tons of government works.
So tell me about this guy Brexit.
This guy Brexit is a guy who is in the EU, and is showing not to be anymore, due to the people voting in a referendum 2 years ago now. And they're actually talking about, oh, we need to do a second vote now. Which I think is ridiculous. They already decided. But basically, Theresa May, the Prime Minister of the UK, has been fucking it up the entire time. Has been, negotiating the, Brexit deal from a place of power, but giving that up in the negotiation. So like they're the ones with the power because the UK is the second biggest contributor to the EU. They pay more money than anyone else except for Germany. We're under Empress Merkel. And so they have all the power to leave. And they were, I believe they were asking for 39 billion pounds, obviously. Not, not dollars, but 39 billion pounds, I believe, is the number. And, May is just fucking it all up, right? Basically, what the deal is now, the whole reason that there's what the hashtag is Brexit chaos, is that the new deal is they're only going to leave the EU in name only. So they're still going to pay all the money that they would normally pay, their dues, and they're going to, still have to follow all the laws that the EU sets, but they're not going to get the benefits of being in the EU. So it's just a lose-lose situation. So hopefully,
May's just fucked her own country.
Yeah, and
really
I saw somewhere that Trump has 12 more points in approval rating than Theresa May. So I know you have your little TDS thing going on over there. So I mean that tells you something. If she's more hated than he is, there's an issue there. Trump derangement syndrome.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Is that what we're calling that now? TDS?
Yeah.
I get all the initials. I love it. So, I understand that they wanted to do their own thing, but, fucking Theresa May. Good job, midget. Wait, right now? Does your wife know?
I don't think anyone would be fucking Theresa May and talking about it.
Well, it's not like the UK has been a wealth over the last few years. It's not like, they've been on some sort of, some amount of decline anyway. To be wanting to pull out of the EU, but a lot of people are saying, like this article, that it was immigration that spurred people to want the vote to happen sooner.
Yeah.
And get it out of the way, so they put pressure on May to try and do something.
Right, because she is a Remainer, which is the word that they use for someone who wants to remain in the EU, Remainer, right. Or Remoaner, as it's said, which I think is good. That's a good name. The British, I gotta say, are very good at coming up with like insults and stuff.
Right.
They're pretty good at that. But anyway, yeah, so she wants to stay. But she has to abide by the referendum. So she's kind of like just stalling it and trying really hard not to leave the EU. While at the same time leaving the EU. Because she has to.
To show that she is doing what they want.
So there's actually a large movement now. I believe they need 48 MPs. But they have like 20 something who want to have a vote of no confidence in Theresa May to replace her. Now, I mean, I'm not really well versed in British politics, but that's about the extent of my knowledge. I know the big reason why is because of the large influx of immigrants coming in, and there's a lot of problems with them there.
If I'm not mistaken, and please. Anybody that wants to prove me wrong, please go ahead and prove me wrong. But I do believe that we had an excellent businessman offer to help Theresa May.
Sure did.
In working this deal.
Yep.
Because he
offered
nobody
a free
makes
signed
a
copy
deal.
of the art of the deal.
Nobody makes a deal like this guy. Just ask Kim Jong-un. Media corporations colluding to implant the fucking idea of reversing the biggest Democratic vote in memory.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, that's what I was saying. They're trying to get a second referendum to try and, reverse it. But I just don't think that's going to happen. I mean, even if they did do a second one, I think it would be even stronger because people don't want to be in the EU.
Isn't it their own fucking fault that it's happening, though?
It's not the average person's fault.
Who put May in power enough to do this?
Oh, yeah.
Do the people not have control of this?
Honestly, I don't know.
If they have the control to get her out of office, then they were probably the ones in control of putting her in office.
Well, so I could be wrong because, again, I don't know all that much about British politics, but I believe that the people vote for like local MEPs or MPs. I'm not sure what the difference is, really. But then those
MP's
people.
a member of parliament.
Yeah, no, I know, but
right.
I don't know what an MEP is.
Oh.
But one of them votes for like the actual parliamentary members and the actual governing body of the country, as opposed to like whatever their local areas are. And then I believe that those people then vote for the MP or the PM, the Prime Minister. I believe that is how that works. I'm not 100% sure. But so it wouldn't be directly voted by the people like our president is. It's voted by the ministers of parliament.
Stupid camera.
Oh, MEP is a member of the European Parliament. That makes sense. So I'm stupid then. So anyway, yeah, it's the MPs, ministers of parliament.
You gotta quit kicking the table, John. You're knocking my camera over.
I'm not kicking the fucking table.
Well, don't
You're
blame it
kicking
on
the
my
goddamn table.
Typewriter.
Typewriter, yeah.
Keyboard.
Jesus, you're so fucking old. God damn. Fucking typewriter.
The fuck. God damn it. You'd never know I just turned 30.
Oh yeah, we have it on camera that on video that you were turning 50.
No, that was the.
That was just like a
the
fake out.
sarcasm
Little
episode.
little
Remember that
smoke
whole
screen?
episode was
Oh, was it
sarcasm.
opposite day on that day?
It was opposite day. Just
No.
ask Patrick.
Patrick.
Hey,
Is that a SpongeBob reference?
Jesus Christ, dude. Does everything have to be explained to you?
Yes.
Jesus.
I'm
fucking-
entitled to your explanation.
Way to go, Paula.
Yeah, I still don't get that. You're just old.
Have you never seen An Officer and a Gentleman? One of the greatest movies.
It's possible. My dad always made me watch
Richard
like
Gere.
shitty movies like that. He always made me watch like, oh, this
And
is a
Louis
movie
Gossett.
from my childhood. You need to watch it because it's like super good. And then
It was
usually
Richard
wasn't.
Gere, and it was Louis Gossett Jr., and the chick. Yeah, it was a chick.
Mm.
That, she played Paula. Fuck,
Yeah,
what was
whatever.
her name? But anyway, yeah, that was a line from the end when she got her, and they're in the factory, and her friend, who was the whore, she was just the town slut whore trying to find a husband from the naval base, and couldn't get anywhere, kept fucking everything up.
Yeah, whatever.
But they had a big argument. And then Paula, he comes in and sweeps her off her feet. Richard Gere picks her up out of the factory to carry her out in his new office gear, his outfit, and uniform, and she's like, "Way to go, Paula! Way to go!"
Yeah.
It was
Sounds
a sad,
sexist.
touching moment. But anyway, so
yeah,
should
the UK is fucked.
Should the UK pull out of
Yes.
the European Union?
Absolutely. The whole European Union just needs to go
Why?
because it's extremely authoritarian. It's unaccountable to its member countries, and it's ruining all their economies.
Is it ironic that when you say that, the first thing I think is that's exactly what Hitler would have loved to have been in charge of?
Yes, yeah. There's actually a lot of similarities. First of all, Germany is the one in charge of most of the EU, and it's taken over a lot of the same countries. And recently, they've been talking about having an EU army. Yeah.
I wonder what the uniforms would look like.
Oh, they'd probably be gay as hell. Actually, no. You know what? Because Germany's part of it, part of the EU. So is Italy. So there's a lot of fashion.
Well, it would
cities
just be
like
the
Milan,
German design in green, then.
Maybe,
Because
yeah.
don't the Italians like green in their army?
I don't know.
Because their flag is green and red and white, right?
Yeah, but so is Mexico's.
Yeah, but they
Isn't it?
can't afford uniforms.
No, it's not. Maybe. I don't know. They have uniforms.
Don't they import them from America?
No, they make
Like
them,
they come across the border and make the uniforms
and then
send
send
them
them
back.
yeah. So they make them in Mexico, send them to the U.S. and then
Fuck,
import
we're gonna
them.
get hate mail.
No, we're not. Nobody watches this show. It's
No, I
fine.
hope we get hate mail.
Right?
Something. It'll be something.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That would be awesome.
Fucking midget, send us some hate mail. Something.
Yeah.
Show us some love and hate.
Yeah.
Fuck. Now, see, that's funny. That's irony for you right there. You know, it's.
Yep.
I don't know. It almost sounds like apocalyptic kind of stuff there.
Yeah.
You know, not apocalyptic, but what was the Revelations in the Bible kind of stuff too. You know, whereas you know everybody's now on the same coin and this and we're all under one ruler.
They got the mark of
and,
the beast. Yeah.
That's how I always wondered if maybe Hitler wasn't the Antichrist. But they just got lucky and killed him off that time, so we're just waiting on the next.
Yeah, you know, the guy who killed Hitler is my hero. That dude's just fucking great, you know.
But we don't know that somebody killed him.
Yeah.
I think it was the black magic that killed him.
You think that's what it was?
Well, you know, he was into
He
the
was
occult.
super into I know, I've watched History Channel before.
Right,
Fucking History Channel. You know what?
Fake news?
I loved the History Channel when I was a kid. I absolutely loved I watched their documentary for hours, all of them. But then they started turning into, like, other shit. You know, they would have, like, the ice road truckers and the loggers and, you know, shit like that. And they excused it by changing their motto to history, made every day. So it's like, oh, well, this is going to be history in the future, so let's just, you know, do it now. It's like, no, I want to see all the crazy World War II documentaries, which they played all the
I
time.
still want to turn on MTV and see a fucking
shit.
Music video, too.
Yeah. Good luck with
I
that.
want to turn on the Cartoon Network and see nothing but fucking cartoons.
Or the Learning Channel and learn something instead of watching. That's where Honey Boo Boo was.
You
on
learned
the
something.
fucking Learning
You learned
Channel.
something from the Learning Channel.
I
How
learned-
to change the channel.
Yeah, I learned how to turn it off, right.
You learn when to change the fucking channel.
That's why I don't watch TV anymore.
TV, no. I mean, you know what? It's a dying beast.
Yeah.
People are going away from they'll
streaming
stream the
everything.
fucking shows.
Yeah.
Stop trying to put it on the major networks.
Yeah.
I mean, all of those could just go to the fucking news. If you took off the shows, sports and news would be really what they have left.
Well, I mean, but even that, like, you can go to, like, CNN and MSNBC, all these, you know, legacy media places have their own YouTube channels where they stream live 24/7.
But is that not the same? It's all, you know. So all of this is not just local, but I mean, local channels are always carrying primetime stuff, right? The major networks, and then you've got all the cable channels that are carrying stuff. But again, these channels are shifting from what they are. Every day somebody new shifts into something else. I mean, I'm surprised, you know, I've heard they've actually had white people on BET.
They had what?
White people.
White people?
On BET.
No shit.
I've heard rumors.
It's diversity, man. Diversity is our strength.
Normies are cutting the cable, but they watch stupid shit on streaming services.
Yeah.
Well, where else are you going to watch stupid shit?
Yeah, my parents are actually like the quintessential normies, and they actually do like YouTube TV. Well, they'll just be on their phone and like find the thing that they want to watch and then cast it to the TV. Like that's how they watch TV now. I think that's really interesting.
Well, see, that's midget. Wait till Disney Play comes out. Yes. Now, see, this is something that I noticed. All the Disney stuff is getting pulled from all the streaming networks because they're about to run their own channel.
Yeah.
Right? And that means they're going to start pulling the Marvel shit, too, which pisses me off.
Well, all that shit's on Netflix, isn't it?
Yeah, but Disney owns it.
And so is Star Wars. All the
Disney
Star Wars
owns
shit.
Yeah, they're going to pull all the Netflix. Well, but you can see the Marvel stuff on Hulu.
Yeah.
You can see it on other streaming networks. But it's going to go away from all these places over the next couple of years.
Everyone's going to have their own streaming service. I don't know if that's a good idea, though.
No.
Because, I mean, you don't want to pay for 16 subscriptions to different things. You want to pay for, you know, the 2 or 3 and let it be that.
And you know what it's going to feed, though? It's going to feed the net neutrality shit.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's where they're going to have to pull, you know, they're really going to have an argument for the net, pulling net neutrality so that cable companies can say, okay, well, here's a package that has these channels, or pick your 5 channels here, pick your 10 channels, You know, it's midget. It's going to be awful, creatively bankrupt content, and people are going to buy the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
There's not a very high bar for quality anymore.
No, but I mean, you know, a lot of these streaming channels are producing their own content, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's fine. If people are watching it, though, then, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, who puts the value on something?
Right, the
Right?
consumer.
The demand is coming from the consumer base.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, I'll admit I stream all sorts of stupid shit. I mean, you know, it's, what am I currently watching right now? Ash versus the Dead.
I have no idea what that is.
You familiar with Evil Dead, the movies? Evil
Think
Dead,
so.
Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness? No?
No.
Wow, John, you gotta watch more movies
No,
sometimes.
I'm just not a fan.
Movies are fun.
I prefer to like do things with my time, learning stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. You mean by playing games on fucking Steam?
Yeah, but
I see you when you're on there, so don't.
well, no.
Don't.
What
I know
do-
you work a job, so I know when you're on fucking Steam.
Yeah.
And it's
But
yeah,
what I
you're
but what
playing
I'm gonna tell you
games,
what I
not
do.
learning.
Bullshit. I can do both.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I listen to audiobooks while
When you're
I'm
working.
while I'm playing
Yeah,
and while I'm playing
supposedly.
games, and I listen to YouTube and
Who
shit
knew
like that.
Dick and Jane was an audiobook?
Dick and Jane? I don't watch Dick and Jane.
You don't know what Dick and Jane is either? Those
Isn't
were
that-
like those used to be the quintessential first reading books.
Hmm.
Or no, yeah, Dick and Jane. See Spot Run. See
Oh
Dick
yeah,
Run.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right. So you know that was
But yeah,
a
no, I mean,
slight
I'll
at
load
your.
up my favorite game at the moment, Mountain Blade. You know, I'll load that up and dick around on that, and you know, listen to an audiobook or some shit like that.
You've
some YouTube
digressed. What's
videos.
this got to do with Hitler and the EU?
Well, the whole Article 11 and Article 13, you know, we
Tell
could
me.
stop that. It's basically things. See, I understand this even less than I understand, you know,
Why?
British politics, but it basically puts a lot of restrictions on copyrighted material, especially articles, you know, news articles and things like that, where you can get your, you know, channel shut down because you showed an article from some media source without their permission, and yeah, so they're putting a lot of pressure on YouTube to make them abide by it.
So like
Because
what we're
they're-
doing right now.
Because they're based in, yeah, absolutely. But we're fine because we're in the U.S., right? But
Oh, gotcha.
I mean, all it would really take for someone in Europe to be able to do that is just use a VPN.
I don't
you know.
understand that though, because I mean, I would think any news media source would want the you know the
Yeah, people don't like making money anymore. It's strange.
the exposition. Why wouldn't they want the people the notice the you know the free advertising?
Because people shit on them.
people are shitting on every news media out there. It doesn't matter
Right.
who the fuck you are, and it's not just Americans. I mean,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
what I'm
this
saying.
fake news thing is spreading throughout the world. It's sad.
Yep.
It's because everybody's got has got a bug up their ass.
Yeah.
Speaking of
true.
bugs up asses, let's talk about
That was a shitty
College
segue. It was
kids.
a very forced segue.
Jesus Christ, John. Well, if you had one,
If I had what, a segue?
yeah.
I don't have a segue. Can't afford it. Nor would I, because you know.
I saw. I was in. I was just in Mount Dora for a festival, and I saw a Segway dealer there. If you're not familiar with Mount Dora, the bulk of the population is older folks. And
Oh,
I could just
God.
imagine that guy. And I was thinking to myself when I saw the sign, I thought, this guy probably imagined a town that would just be full of his Segways all over the place, and people running around. And I'm looking and just see people walking everywhere. I'm like, so how's he doing? And then of course, 30 minutes later, I kid you not, a whole slew of fucking people comes down this fucking hill on Segways.
Nice.
I'm like, shit. Yeah, he's just advertising.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I don't. Did you say you hadn't heard very much about this?
No. I
so
don't. I read, skimmed the article when you sent it to me earlier today, but yeah, it's a typical BuzzFeed, you know, article.
Well, you know, BuzzFeed wasn't who broke this. This was just happened to pop up because the way that they're putting this out there versus the way it was originally out there, because originally it was just a student
Yeah.
And now, as you can see, the spin is now about her race.
It's on a black student.
So this is the first leg of the spin. Exposure. Thank you, midget. Yes, exposure was the word I was looking for, and I can't rely on John to have words for me because he listens to all his shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't read.
Yeah, no, not as much.
It was on the tip of my tongue, and midgets.
I just don't have the attention span anymore to just like sit and read. Like I gotta be doing something. I don't like to not be like.
Reading is fun.
It is. It is fun.
But anyway, so yeah, this is the first bit of spin. This is the one they're going to jump on with this. But anyway, so in a nutshell, teacher has a student in her class, and yes, she was an African-American student, had her feet up on the chair in front of her. And the teacher told her that she needed to put her feet down and show some civility in the class. The girl didn't want to do it. She's like, no, I don't want to do it. She said, well, you can either leave the class, and of course the girl wasn't going to leave the class.
Right.
So she says, you can either leave the class or I'll have the police take you out.
That was the hill she wanted to die on.
Campus police. Yeah, she had campus police come and remove the girl from the class. Now, the spin is because she was black.
Well,
right?
I mean, if she was black, they would have shot her. So
right.
Luckily,
see, and there's my first argument. The girl wasn't hit,
right,
shot, nothing. So obviously race wasn't a motivation.
Right.
But no. Anyway, so here's what one student.
Yeah, I hate that because it's always like. It's always like, oh, they were just minding their own business, not doing anything wrong. Then all of a sudden, the police came and just attacked them, and I don't know, it's just crazy. It's like, no, obviously there's other things happening.
Sure. And what was that? So the teacher stopped the class, had the police come and take the girl out. Now, students were tweeting about this.
Which is the best source of news, always.
Right.
Tweets.
Right. So the professor stopped class entirely, stepped out to call the police just because one student had her feet up on a seat in front of her. Mind you, she wasn't talking or interrupting the lecture. Okay, great. The class before this professor went on a whole tirade about how uncivil we all were because a few students were on their phone or not paying attention, cutting lecture time for the rest of us because her ego was bruised. Okay, right here is where I begin to have my problem. A teacher, had her ego bruised, according to them, because the fucking students didn't have the common decency to pay a fucking attention in class. It's a fucking class, and that teacher is teaching you. At least fucking show some decency and learn.
Right.
Sitting on your fucking phone, talking amongst yourselves, not paying attention, not giving a fuck that this person is trying to teach you in a class that, as you said off mic, mommy and daddy are probably paying for.
No, see, you fucked up my joke. I was saying mommy and daddy are not paying for you to sit there and be on your phone and not pay attention. And
Exactly,
I was just about
which
to make
is
that
what they're
point as soon
doing.
as you stopped talking, but you didn't. So.
All right, I'll just
No,
stop talking.
no. Go ahead, because you're obviously way more upset about this than I am. This is just par for the course. I mean, this is nothing new at all. This is just how these things go.
I'm tired of teachers getting shit upon. Now, yeah, I'm not saying that all teachers are great.
No.
But teachers are important. Getting a college education is fucking important.
Especially if you're going to put yourself in all that kind of debt and you're just going to not do anything with it. I mean, I don't feel bad for you when you can't get a job because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about just because you have your little piece of paper in your hand, but if you don't know what you're talking about because you didn't pay attention, you're fucked.
This kid goes on and on, he's like, oh, she canceled class and the lecture before an exam, she's throwing a tantrum and all of this, and it's like, yeah, because there are still people in this country that have fucking standards.
Yeah, all right, you don't want to pay attention, then you're going to have to fail the exam. It's called consequences. You got to learn it sometime.
I mean, what's wrong with having standards in this country?
Yeah. Standards are a social construct. So.
Having expectations that people just act the way they're supposed to, show some fucking respect. It's the disrespect that's just shitty.
Yeah.
And everyone, and you've seen.
Oh yeah.
You've seen how it's going in college campuses. And it's happening all across the country, all across the world. It's beginning to happen, right? This entitlement that now that you can think for yourself, and you're supposed to be thinking for yourself.
You're supposed to, but they're not.
You don't want anybody to think for you or make you think. You only want to think your own thoughts in your own way, not be challenged by a professor. Right? Welcoming an inclusive atmosphere must answer for this.
That's right. They must answer for this.
Everything's okay now. Whatever you want to do is fine. You don't have to respect anybody.
Right. No, they need to.
In
They need
authority.
to respect you because you're the one who's oppressed. The students are the oppressed ones because they're not as high up on the hierarchy as the teacher. The teacher has all the power, and since the teacher has the power, that means that students are the ones who are oppressed because there must be an oppressor and an oppressed. And, that's the whole Marxist theory. There's always an oppressor and there's always an oppressed. So the teacher must be the oppressor since they're the one in power. Which means that you can hate them, it's fine. You don't have to do anything they say.
I like how she puts it. This is the girl that was asked to leave. She's in the 2053 bio classroom. Upon entering class,
Wow.
I was told I needed to leave or would be escorted out by officers. Upon entering. So she walked in the fucking door being told to get the fuck out, according to her, is how that sounds. Oh, and I love my class. But it looks like only like one guy was posting over and over. It was the same guy posting. Here's some more about what others posted. Lady called campus security because her feet were up on the seat. Yeah, that's not disrespectful. Okay. This is my A&P class. This is my A&P class. This bitch works for me, is what that tells me. All of this happened for something so minuscule. We have a test Wednesday, and instead of reviewing, our class was canceled. Respecting people is what kids in college these days are screaming about so much. But when someone is disrespected, it's minuscule.
Yeah.
Because they're a teacher. They're an authoritarian.
Right. So they need to be challenged and, attacked.
Y'all, I am not even kidding when I tell you there's a white girl that always, always puts her foot up in this woman's lecture that I'm in, and she has never, notice, in this women's, thank you, good spelling, Jasmine.
Wow, yeah.
You're a woman that
way
can
to put
spell
that
women.
Way to put that education to work.
This women's lecture that I am in, and she has never said one word to her. I'm not one to bring up race, but Anita Moss has got to go.
Go to Twitter, find this person's handle, and let's see if that's true or not. I will put money on the line that is not true. I bet you every other tweet is something, about race.
So, would it help to explain to all of these students that what they're dealing with here is the trigger? This is what finally pushed her over the edge. It's just another fucking student with her fucking feet up in the fucking class, that obviously has continued to show no respect for the class with phones and not paying attention. And so she reached her breaking point.
Right.
But that's, triggers are only for entitled douchebags.
Yeah.
Not teachers who are getting paid to do a job, one of the most important jobs in our society, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because if it all collapses, teachers are going to be important.
Yeah.
Really fucking important.
Well, when the communist revolution comes, the teachers are going to be the first ones to go.
The fact that a professor would have a student removed from class when she clearly isn't being a disruption to the learning environment, or her lack of lecturing is completely unjustified. Okay, so let me get this straight. She's not a disruption to the learning environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, doesn't that contradict if the teacher feels disrupted by this inattention,
right,
and this lack of discipline in the class?
And do they not believe her that she feels this way? Aren't we supposed to believe women's? That's what I always heard. she has a perceived injustice, then it's obviously an actual injustice.
Once upon a time, students feared, quote unquote, professors in college because they held their future in their hands.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand it. Fuck the teachers. They're not important. Teachers aren't important.
Right.
Everybody's like, I could just get all this information off the fucking internet and take the test.
I mean, you could.
And just let me have my phone while I take the test. I'll pass everything.
Yeah.
So, the school comes out and says, we are concerned by what the video shows and have initiated multiple investigations into the matter. We recognize the importance of promptly gathering the facts and being transparent in the outcomes.
Yeah.
Both the student and the professor have separately met with university officials. The professor will remain out of the classroom for the remainder of the week, and the student has been offered multiple options for continuing her studies while the investigations continue. Once they are completed next week, appropriate final action will be determined.
Yep.
So, at least that was partial, fair and partial. Both of you are, the teacher's out of the classroom. The student will have a way to continue her studies.
Yeah.
Till we're done investigating.
Right.
I'll give the school that much props. I don't necessarily feel this is going to swing the way the professor would want it to.
Probably not.
There's going to be enough outrage.
Yeah, unless she's a tenured professor, which I don't know. Maybe not.
Midgeby, these days kids are entitled to a future whether they can manage it or not.
That's right.
Yeah. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
But the sad part is sure, you want to feel entitled to a future? Well, get the fuck out of the house and go live your future.
Yeah, exactly. You are entitled to
Who's supposed to give you that?
To have a future.
Is it supposed to be handed to you, though?
Yes.
Completely handed to you?
Yeah.
And that's in the Constitution?
It should be.
Ah, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
mean,
think
the Constitution
you ought not
doesn't
shit
really
on
matter.
teachers the way we're shitting on teachers these days.
We should just get rid of the whole Constitution anyway. We don't need it.
In this
Who
key
needs
area, of development for our society. I mean, college is where we make or break our society, I believe.
I don't know. I think it's less and less important as time has been going on. I honestly don't think it's nearly as important as it used to be.
Well,
unless you want to do things like, anything in the STEM field, fields you would need.
No, that's not true, because I can sit and look at, I've looked at job boards recently, and many jobs are still looking for some sort of 4-year degree. I mean, there's, even to the extent that there's a lot of them that are just, a 4-year degree.
Yeah.
A bachelor's in something.
I mean,
that you've been to college.
I guess I've never had a job. I've never tried for a job that requires that. I worked in an office job one time, and it didn't require,
Well,
it was a shitty job too. I fucking hated it. I was only there for like 6 months. I just couldn't do it. I can't just be sitting, in an office. It was a bad environment for me. For me personally. If that's your thing, that's your thing. I can't do it.
Well, I think its importance is mainly there because we as a society have marginalized the non-educated enough. I mean, who do you expect to be working in the fucking grocery store? Who do you expect to be working in the Walmarts and the
Yeah, I mean, you certainly don't need a college education for that.
Right? So we've marginalized these people and we've sectored them. We expect that the lower class and the lower middle class are going to be non-college educated.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what is education anymore?
Yeah, I like Midget B's comment there.
What's that?
He says, God damn it, inclusive is a dog whistle for holding POC to lower standards. And I mean, it's true. If taking the meritocracy out of the workplace is pandering and extremely condescending, in my opinion. We've talked about this before with affirmative action, how it's extremely condescending to the people who benefit from it,
But you feel you're saying the same thing applies to education?
Yeah, I mean, well, we know that, affirmative action does work in education. They use it in education as well. So people, who otherwise wouldn't, their SAT scores weren't as good, but they'll accept them with a lower, score than they would other people.
Gotcha.
And actually, they have a big problem in either Yale or Harvard, where Asian people are having a very difficult time getting in, no matter how good their scores are, because there's a lot of them there, because they deserve to be there, because they're extremely intelligent, on the whole. And so they're having an issue, not having a hard time getting into really good schools because of this affirmative action stuff.
What if I were to hypothesize that what is currently happening in our colleges around this country in the present time is a direct result of No Child Left Behind?
A lot of it is, yeah, and I disagree with No Child Left Behind. I mean, I'm sorry, but not everyone's of equal intelligence, and that doesn't mean you don't deserve the same rights as everyone else. You deserve to go through K through 12 like anybody else, and you should be held to the same standards. And if you don't match up to those standards, then I'm
well,
sorry.
We've talked about this before. I support trade schools.
Yeah,
I think
that's
we should go
idea.
back to that.
Yeah.
No child left behind. No, don't leave them behind. But if at 7th, 8th grade, before they go into high school, if they're not showing the aptitude to function all the way through high school, graduate, and go on to college, there it is. If we can evaluate, and even that student and the parents, everyone agrees, well, then here's an avenue that your education, and there, free education, give free training. Make vocational schools part of that free education that this country needs.
If they're
going to make the first 2 years of college, right?
I think we should wait till at least 10th grade before doing that.
Well, 9th grade is the first year of high school, so see how well they do. I forget. I grew up in a time, the school that I went to,
junior
9th
high
grade
school
was the last year of junior high.
Gotcha.
Right, so... but you were determining between 7th through 9th grade, ultimately.
Well, they also lowered the standards, too, on what it is to pass.
Too.
I think it was actually No Child Left Behind that lowered the standards for passing. Because I remember when I was a kid, it was a 94 was an A. Oh, no, it was a 95. 95 was an A, and a 94 was a B. But now a 90 is an A, and then an 89 is a B.
Yeah,
so I remember that change. I was probably in like 6th grade.
Yeah,
so 2001, Bush was president. That's when
I was like, fuck, I'll ace everything now.
Yeah.
I grew up trying to make sure that I was getting 93s and 94s, because I want to say it was 90. I remember when it transitioned from 94 to 93.
No, it might have also been my transition from South Carolina schools to Florida schools.
And more rural schools.
But then when I went back to South Carolina, they had changed it to the same grading system, to 90 being an A. So I think that probably had a lot to do with it. It was easier to pass. You could pass with a D, which means if you got 60%, you passed, right?
And but I mean, honestly, if somebody's coming out of high school with a D average, they would have been better served.
Yeah,
and that's why age factored into that as well. You wanted a 16-year-old to go to trade school because most trade schools were going to take a couple of years, right? Yeah. And then once you got out of it, you're an adult. You can go get a full-time job.
Yeah.
And we need to bring that back.
I think that's a good
stop
idea.
this pandering to hold people's hands. I mean,
well, also what we need to do is eliminate the Board of Education, the Department of Education. Sorry, the Department of Education.
You want it privatized?
I mean, ideally, but I realize that that's not a practical thing to do. To just go from public education to private. I would like to move more in that direction, but I think charter schools are an excellent idea, part private, part government funded. But so what I was saying though is we need to get rid of the Department of Education anyway, even if we do keep it publicly funded, because they set standards for the entire country, and the schools get money based on how well people do on standardized tests.
Sure.
And so that encourages a culture in schools where you're not actually learning like critical thinking skills and things like that. You're just doing like rote memorization in order to pass a test. That's the whole point of the school, so that they can get more money from the government. I think that's a terrible system. You're not going to
Yeah.
teach anyone anything. Maybe.
Well, and I agree, but the Department of Education isn't. If you take something like this mentality of No Child Left Behind out, the Department of Education goes back to serving a very significant function for the country as a whole, because you have to bear in mind that if you leave education in the hands of the states, the standards become so varied that Joe in Wisconsin can't go get a job in California because the educational standards vary so much, whereas the Department of Education keeps them at a certain even keel, right?
And that's a fair point. I don't really have a response to that point. That's pretty fair. But I just think it would be better because look, the whole one size fits all mentality just doesn't work because of what you just said. We have our states vary in education already. Some places are A schools, other places are D schools.
Well, and the focus is the focus is different too, because the focus on education in the Midwest is going to be you still have. When was the last time you saw an FHA? Do you know what FHA is?
No, what's that?
Or FFA, excuse me,
okay.
Future Farmers of America,
Right.
and FHA was Future Homemakers of America.
Okay.
And those are typically readily available in the Midwest, but you don't really see those in the more progressive coastal schools.
That would be sexist, yeah.
States.
But I think that you should learn, things like cooking.
But
different,
well,
sewing
sure,
still
these are skills
even.
that need to be taught. They're shit. I don't think they even focus as much on, adult readiness. How to write a resume and do it.
How to
Force
balance
in
a
economics
checkbook.
class. Force.
Which I guess you don't really do that anymore, balancing checkbooks. But but still, like how to fill out a tax form.
But you need to know how to do shit like this to understand. Balancing a checkbook needs to be understood so you know how to read your fucking bank balance and understand when it's a charge, a debit, this, that, and the other, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But ultimately, with the Department of Education, you mentioned charter schools. The Department of Education it governs those as well.
It sets the standards for them, but
they have to meet
more,
those standards, so you.
But
can't
they also have more
remove it.
freedom on the things that they teach, right? They'll usually specialize in one or two things.
They have to specialize.
Yeah.
It's an expectation that they're going to have a focus.
Yeah.
And that's where.
Which is kind of where your vocational school comes into play, because some of them will concentrate on like science and math, and then other ones will concentrate on information technology.
Sure.
Some of them will concentrate on English or liberal arts, and things like that.
With the expectation that children are coming out college ready.
Right.
And I will say this, from having two children that go to a charter school, the focus on the standardized tests is night and day from what public schools are doing.
I'm sure, yeah.
It absolutely is. They do focus on taking that test for a week at best. They talk about it, this is coming up, make sure you're studying, but what they're teaching is ahead of the curve for the standardized test. So when the kids are taking the standardized test, they're usually dealing with information that they've already learned and they've moved past.
Right.
And that's good. But when you get into privately funding education, especially if you look at removing the Department of Education or privatizing the Department of Education, that's the scariest part.
Yeah,
for
I don't
me,
know. I don't think
because
there should be any Department of Education.
That is the first step to indentured servitude.
Yeah, I don't think there should be any Department of Education.
You've got to have it.
You've
got to have something that sets a standard for the nation as a whole to keep education on the same level, so that a master's of business in one state is the same as a master's of business in another, that a high school diploma says the same thing from one state to another, and so that education is easily transferable across state lines, so that people don't get locked into where they're at.
Right, but there's already differences in how valuable a master's degree is from one college to the next. I mean, there's
Sure,
already
that's
that.
accreditation, though.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they can
and
still
then
be accredited. They
reputation.
can still both be accredited and still have this disparity in
And money feeds into
value.
that. Now, when we get into colleges, it's a lot more gamey territory, right? Because one school can afford to hire better
Right.
teachers than others because they've got more donors, this, that, and the other.
And that's
But when you get into
good
high
thing
schools,
about, well, that's another good thing about privatizing schools is that teachers are held more accountable because there's no teachers union in the privatized schools, so they can actually be fired if they're not performing well.
Sure.
That's very difficult to do in a public school. They would have to really fuck up to get fired because of the teachers union. It's a
well, I
very
think
powerful union.
the standards have loosened on what a teacher can be fired for these days. Because the present culture
Well, yeah, all
is
it takes is a
putting
little bit
so
of
much
outrage.
pressure on schools to feed into these, cultural
Yeah.
issues. I'm surprised sometimes at some of the things that teachers are being let go or having issues at. Not, having sex with students and sexual harassment and stuff. That's, but the disrespect and teachers losing their jobs right and left because children are just blatantly, whether it be in the lower, K through 12,
Yeah.
or whether it be in the colleges.
Yeah.
You got no business. You got no business being there if you don't want to be educated. Get the
Yeah.
fuck out.
I agree.
And that's what this teacher was ultimately saying. If you don't want to show me the respect, just I'm fucking fed up with this class. And if you
Yeah.
don't want to show me the respect that I deserve, the fucking usher in a movie theater will come along and tell you to put your fucking feet down.
Yeah.
But there's not a fine line. There's not a list of rules before you go in the theater that says don't put your feet on the seat. Is there, or is there? Do they still have to do that, or is it an expected thing?
There's
because
certainly
it's
not a
fucking
sign.
respect?
There's no sign on the front door, right? But it
Right.
might be in there.
But you gotta do that
But either
now?
way, but I mean, the obvious difference to play devil's advocate is that's probably a public school, public state college, and movie theater is a private business. So I mean, there is a difference legally and what they can and can't do. But yeah, I mean,
Well,
I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying that
I mean, most
your
schools
analogy
are,
kind of falls apart.
I'd
with
have
that.
to say most schools are privately funded anyway because most of the money schools are getting are coming from private donors.
Yeah, but I mean,
There's still money coming from the government, but a lot of it's coming from private donors.
I need to get a better chair.
Look
I might get myself a better chair for Christmas.
Maybe you just need to get a
My ass is falling asleep.
firmer
Robert.
ass.
Well, I got the white man's
Yeah,
disease.
go work.
No acetol.
Out. Hey, so anyway, I think it was a shitty deal she got. It sucks. So fuck those students, and they need to you can take their head out of their ass and learn a thing or two. It's woman's, not women's class.
Whammons.
Whammons. Whatever.
Whammons.
Whinans.
Because there's a difference between a woman and a whammon.
Let's talk about something that's actually supposed to be sad. Stan Lee died this week.
You sure did. Rip in peace.
Midget, I think you can agree with me that it was a sad thing.
Yeah,
I
he's
think,
into the whole comic thing. So
Well,
I'm
I
sure that did
started
affect him.
reading comics a few years ago. Fucking NPCs are so disingenuous. Stan Lee allegedly pinches his nurse's ass. He's a sexual assailant. He instructs Marvel Studios to stay loyal to his creations and not make Peter Parker a black faggot.
It's true.
Nice one, Midget.
Yeah, but no, that's why he's considered like racist and stuff. There's a whole, outrage about that. It's like, no, he's not saying that you can't
was
have
playing to
characters like
society.
that. What he's saying is, he doesn't want his creations to turn into that. Instead,
Right.
make a new character
Right.
that
Come
have
up
these
with
attributes.
a new fucking hero. Quit
Right.
replacing Peter Parker.
Right. Exactly.
It's
I
not
mean,
like
to be
the
fair-
Simpsons get any
To
older.
be fair, they change all the time, from what I've heard. Because I tried to stay in touch with that kind of stuff, but it doesn't interest me as much as like the culture war, as a broad subject. This one Comicsgate thing doesn't really, I don't know, just doesn't really hold my attention all that much.
Well, the thing about it is, and this is the first time I've heard about racism in comic books, right?
Yeah.
Even before Comicsgate. I mean, this is not new. I mean, it's kind of like it goes back to Wonder Woman, the original issues of Wonder Woman for DC Comics. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, there was a heavy load of BDSM in those comics, and now there's a movie, Wonder Women, or something like
Women.
that, huh?
Wonder Woman.
And it's the life story of the guy who created Wonder Woman. And all the tying folks up and the smacking around by with women and stuff is okay. So it is what it is. But I remember reading Luke Cage whenever I was younger. He was black already.
Yeah.
And he wasn't stereotypical black,
right.
Except, well, maybe he had an afro, but that was the times.
Yeah, that was a fashion thing at the time.
That was a fashion thing, but he was one of the thickest skinned bastards I knew. And now nobody's got a thick skin.
It's almost like they try and teach life lessons through
comic
characters
books.
And stories.
Right, it's
strange,
very
right?
weird, right?
Yeah.
I was, what surprised me was when they did Iron Fist, and he was white.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about what is it, Ironheart?
Riri
Williams.
I don't know, Danny Rand. As Iron Fist. I always wondered because he looked so Asian in his costume.
Yeah.
It was weird.
I don't know.
But you know what? Stan Lee dies, and a lot of people can focus on is these kind of things, these sexual allegations, what he's leaving behind as a legacy. And, I don't, are they comic book fans? I mean, are you really a comic book fan if you're whiny about who's not in the comic books? I'm a comic book fan. I was reading that shit when it was real. Yeah. I remember seeing the first editions of lots of fucking comic books as I was growing up. And I've read Spider-Man back in the fucking beginning. I was able to see old versions of Spider-Man back in the day when he was first getting his start.
You went down to the news agent on the corner and got your comic book for a nickel.
When we went to now let's see. When we went to school, we would get for our grades, we would get paid for our grades if we scored A's, and we get $3 for an A.
My parents used to do that too.
On a report card, right? So I made money from educating myself.
Yeah, and which is a good system, I think. It's a good idea.
It works.
Good incentive, yeah.
I usually made straight A's. All the way up through 9th grade before I moved out of that house. I made straight A's. Now, part would be because it got beaten into me every day, too.
Right.
But I made straight A's. Comic books, you could go pick one up for 50 fucking cents.
Really?
50 cents. And
I thought it was a nickel.
No, those are much older.
Yeah.
Those are back early Superman shit, right?
Which is something I want to mention, by the way, was Stan Lee's soapbox, right? Which was at the end of the comic books.
Used to read it all the time.
Right, and so he had some really, really good really progressive things for his time. Talking about one that I saw was talking about how racism and xenophobia was, one of the worst things. No, I think it's just racism and bigotry. I don't think xenophobia was around back then. But, obviously it was around, but the word wasn't defined like it is now. But he was saying, racism and bigotry is like one of the worst sicknesses in our country or in the world or whatever, and basically railed against it. But now he's a racist and stuff. And then also I saw another one where when they changed the price from a nickel to 12 cents. Oh, no. I think they went from 12 to 15 or something like that. It was some price increase, and he's like, look, we didn't want to, do this. Like, he was straight up with the consumers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, we didn't really want to do this, but we need to because of the rising prices of, everything, inflation, and all that. And then he even made a little joke, was like, now you don't have to worry about getting pennies back. Going from 12 to 15 cents. You don't have to worry about pennies. And so, he threw a little humor in there, and that was nice.
Yeah, but the downside to that was back then you could still get gum for a penny.
Yeah.
You could take that 3 cents and you could pick up, a half a dozen pieces of gum. Now, when it was, with me, because you had tax, you'd have, if you bought a comic book for 50 cents, I think at the time it was like 52 cents when you had tax. So you would get 3 pennies back if you gave him a nickel, right? And
well, I mean, my point was just about him, throwing a little joke out there,
right.
Saying, hey, it's not all bad. Here's a little silver lining.
No, I get you.
But yeah.
And he was a very genuine in person, especially knowing he knew what his target audience was, how diverse it was.
Yeah.
And he was not only talking to adults that were reading his comic books, but he was talking to kids
Yeah.
who had the concept to understand, because we were a well-read, most kids were well-read at the time because education was important.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the internet to educate us.
Yeah.
So we, kids were well-read if they were reading comic books, because there were some very adult things going on in the comic books from the standpoint of violence.
Yeah.
Even if it's just sock, pow, bang, boom.
Yeah.
There was violence going on, right? And you had to be able to handle that and see that going on. And Midget, I don't know, maybe you can agree with me on this, or see where I'm going with this, but when it's all said and done, a lot of the characters were very much characters that had to hide what they were.
Yeah.
Right? To not be exposed in a society that wouldn't accept them.
Right.
So how, the very premise of most of these characters was the oppressed.
Right.
Was victimization of, for who you are and what you are. He was, they were constantly speaking out. It was a big fucking deal when a character revealed their fucking identity to the public.
Right.
Yeah. Now, that's not to say that it's like, okay, you look at Thor and it's like, okay, it's a mild-mannered doctor and he bounces a fucking stick, and next thing you know, he's this hulking god.
Right. No,
with
he was always a god.
But the face always looked the same, right?
Yeah.
Thor. Why does
same
Thor
with
look like
Superman.
that doctor?
Well, same with Superman, right?
Well, but now
the pair of glasses. That
in his defense, early on, in the early days of Superman, the glass, the shield that was on his ship, that's what he fashioned his glasses from, and it had a refractive quality that would basically that would act as an illusionary mask.
Weird.
It would affect what you saw to where he didn't look the same. It would mess with your head. And they alien technology. They had explained that way back in the day.
Yeah, fair enough.
Now it's like, so the dude wears fucking glasses and nobody recognizes him?
Right.
I like the way Smallville did it. They just went with the whole nobody could prove that this guy actually existed.
Right.
Till the one day at the end of the spoiler, the end of the series, he came out of the closet and became Superman.
Yep.
The allegories were universal. The Marvel characters were flawed. The stories were compelling.
Yeah.
Thank you, Midget. It absolutely was.
And see, the thing is, I think the reason that people are, oh, well, he's a racist and homophobe and all that shit is they don't, the people who complain about these things and demand that they change don't consume the product. So they don't know that. They don't know about that.
Sure.
It's just like, oh, there's a hashtag trending. I need to jump on the bandwagon without knowing anything about it.
Well, this kind of shit wasn't going on way back in the day. When I was, what the problem with the only problem that you were hearing about comic books was kind of that same argument that they began to make with video games. That it's bad for kids' heads. They get the wrong ideas and they go out and they do stupid shit.
And these again are people who have never consumed the product, so they have no idea what they're talking
Parents
about.
whose kids were reading violent comic books.
It's kind of like when you make an argument against guns, but you don't know anything about guns. It's kind of like that.
The satanic panic. Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the same kind of deal.
And here's and more irony. I literally, when I was growing up, Wolverine was my guy.
Yeah.
He was my favorite character of all time. Still is to this day.
Yeah.
And I always used to question the veracity of this character because he had 6 razor-sharp fucking deadly claws and didn't kill people with them. Right? If he did a full-on attack on somebody where he was hitting them with his claws, well, it was usually a sentinel, a robot.
Yeah.
Anything mechanical, he would just fucking destroy it. But if he was hitting with claws, he was usually hitting something that had a really tough skin that, for some reason, the strongest metal that known to man, razor sharp, couldn't penetrate their hide.
Yeah.
It was, they did a what if Wolverine had killed the Hulk, and he wound up puncturing Hulk and killing him. And then what's the world going to be like? It was one of my favorite series they did was What If.
Yeah, who's they that did this What If series?
Oh, Stanley, Marvel.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Marvel. Who else are we talking about with Wolverine?
Well, I don't know. It could have been some kind of like YouTube channel or, some such nonsense. I'm not sure.
See, I love this. This is the epitome of what Stan Lee was.
It's the epitome.
So I don't do this. I accidentally clicked, and I didn't want to click. Dr. Doom is misunderstood. That's what Stan Lee told a 14-year-old leukemia survivor who interviewed the Marvel creator in 2016. Everybody thinks he's a criminal, but all he wants is to rule the world.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
No, he didn't say that.
He's a good guy.
He just wants to rule the world. How many people out there want to rule the world?
Lots.
Right. Does that make him does that make him a criminal?
Well, if he commits crimes while he's doing that, then yeah.
The actions you take to that,
yeah.
right? He was, so he was just using the powers that were given to him.
Right.
It happened, and it was Reed Richards' fault.
Yep.
He didn't protect the ship properly. But you don't know anything about the Fantastic Four, do you?
No.
That's your problem.
I watched the shitty movie that came out.
Huh?
I watched the shitty Fantastic Four movie that was out. But that was a long time ago.
Yeah, no, that was shitty. No, Dr. Doom was just the shit. He was a badass. He ran his own country.
I like the ride at Universal.
He had his own country. He just wanted more.
Dr. Doom's freefall thing at Universal. It's pretty awesome. It's a lot of fun.
But these allegations of sexual misconduct. Okay, so I get it, but if it happened, it happened. If it didn't, it didn't. We don't know for sure, right? What was proved, what wasn't. Were there settlements? Maybe. People settle shit all the time. Does that prove guilt? However it came to pass, the bottom line was, he has just as many complaints about the way he was being treated near the end of his life. The people that were trying to take money from him.
Oh, yeah, trying to take him for everything he had.
Sure,
yeah.
And if I were trying to discredit him so that I could take his fucking money, I might get some people to say some shit about it.
Especially in the current year, that's the move to make.
Right? So, everybody wanted a piece of Lee at the end of everything. Yeah. But, anybody that wants to fucking call Stan Lee a bad guy and they don't know him personally, you're an ass, John.
Oh, some of this stuff fell over here.
Yeah, it's your fault.
I'm sure it is. I got more room for my leg now, though, so that's a good thing.
If you didn't know him personally, I don't think you have any room to call him a fucking say anything negative about him. If you don't know, just because you want to say kids are reading comic books that are racist, read the fucking comic books. Go back. Go back, get yourself a Marvel Unlimited subscription, and go back and read the comic books. You tell me he's racist. I've watched through the years.
No, see, you don't understand. It doesn't matter what you did in the past. It's as soon as you're branded a racist or a sexist or a homophobe or whatever, then that you've always been that. It doesn't matter how much evidence there is to the contrary. The mob has decided.
Well, I dare somebody to come stand in my face and tell me that Stan Lee was any of those things.
Yeah. Are you threatening violence right now?
No, I'm just putting the dare out there.
Yeah.
What happens after that stays after that.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But the thing that I could appreciate about Stan Lee was his narcissism.
Sure.
He's a narcissist I can appreciate. And I'm going to put the link to this in the description, but this is a YouTube video. It's about 11:48. It's every Stan Lee cameo ever in Marvel movies and everything because he wrote it in that whoever had the rights, this, that, and the other, whoever was making Marvel stuff, he wanted a cameo. He wanted to be a cameo. He was Stan Lee. He was the face of fucking Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it wasn't just him that started Marvel. I get it. There was Jack Kirby.
He was also in Mallrats as himself. You remember the Kevin Smith movie Mallrats?
And he's been himself in a few things, right?
Yeah.
But that's because he is a fucking icon.
Oh yeah.
He's a true celebrity to me. That's a man who earned his celebrity status.
Sure.
Look at the fucking company he built. Look at the lives he affected. I was a kid growing up. Those comics saved my ass. They gave me a portal away from the nightmare I was living in, so that I could imagine that there was something different out there, or at least begin to have my own imagination that let me believe something better existed.
Yeah.
And he gave that to me. He gave that to lots of people. You know, people that read the comic books, they're changed by the comic books. They learn from the comic books. Now, I don't know. I don't know. I can say that about present day because, yes, I did walk away from Marvel at a time when they started going south. You know, when it fell out of Stan Lee's hands, in a way.
Yeah.
You know, he became less attached to the comics. He was really only attached to certain ones, and even those not as much. He was kind of starting to move into the background and letting the newer generations fuck up the good name of Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
With some of the stupid decisions they made. You know, I mean, and when they started changing characters, what the fuck do you mean you're changing Captain America? What the fuck do you mean you're changing Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Didn't they
I don't
change
care
it
how
in the
many
past,
Miles
though?
Morales you throw at me. Peter
Yeah.
Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Tony Stark is Iron Man.
Yeah.
Steve Rogers is fucking Captain America.
Right. Yep. So you want to read that out loud?
Midget says, you know what Robert's childhood was missing? Fat heroes, brown heroes, heroes who emotionally validate one another constantly and act like narcissistic villains.
Yeah.
You're right. We were missing the Trump administration.
You need some.
We
You need some squirrel girl in your life. That's what you need.
Jesus
What was
Christ.
the new She-Ra? I think it was, where like the new I saw
She-Ra or She-Hulk?
She-Ra.
Okay.
Where she's now like super fat and has like the power of weight. Basically, she has her superpower is farting. Yeah. She has control over the wind and stuff, but only through her ass, I suppose. I don't really know that much about it. I just thought it was funny. I saw the Quarterings video about that, where he's like, "Hey guys, it's Jeremy from the Quartering," like that. He always has that little pause, you know. I've been trying to do my Jeremy impression, but you know, it's a work in
I'm
progress.
trying to remember. Did we not have wasn't there a fat hero? No, there were fat villains.
I need a hero.
Yeah, I guess we really didn't have any fat heroes that I can run on. Brown heroes. We had brown heroes because we had. I mean, Luke Cage was my boy.
Oh yeah.
Power Man and Iron Fist. He was Power Man once upon a time. Before he was, now he's just Luke Cage, right?
Sure.
But he used to be Power Man and Iron Fist. Man, I read that comic book. That was a good comic book. I enjoyed that. As a black guy and a little Asian wannabe white kid. And they were kicking some ass. Heroes for hire is who they were. And gay Iceman. Yeah, fuck that gay Iceman bullshit.
Were they, yeah, I mean, exactly. Were they gender fluid? Were they properly representing everyone, no matter how small of a portion of the population they represent?
Understand that whether they were or not, there were. I mean, I understood what homosexuality was at a certain point in my childhood.
Well, yeah, you were full of it.
But one thing that wasn't happening was exposure.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that you talked about. It was still not socially normative to talk about homosexuality openly.
Right.
For a long time there. And that was a societal norm. So, I guess in a sense, just, writing to society norms, but now our norms have changed. I guess it's still the same thing, but now it's changed so much that it's society entitlement as opposed to norms. I mean, there's so many normals out there now.
I mean, normies.
But, each one's own individual take is supposed to be the norm. It's not like it's one overall norm now. now it's individualistic norm.
I think it's a specific collection of people who are pushing for their
There's so many
stuff to be
norms
norms.
demanded now. It's not even funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, they can't even agree among themselves what the
you're
norms should
entitled
be.
to be racist. You're entitled to be, anti.
Antifa? Is that what you're talking about?
Antifa. You're entitled to be Marxist. You're entitled to be all of these things that do not complement one another, and we don't have an overall society norm except to be abnormal. Societal norm now has become abnormal. And Midget says, and Frank Cho, Gogurt Hulk, and Riri Williams, Iron Man. Right.
Yeah, I brought her up earlier,
How
Riri
do
Williams.
you have a woman Iron Man?
Well, it's Iron Heart. That's why the name is changed. So to be fair, it is a different character. Like, she apparently takes over Stark Industries after.
Does she have a fucked up heart?
I don't know. I don't know the whole thing. I've read like half of the first issue of her thing because Midget B tried to get me into it. So he bought me a bunch of cringe comics, and I read like very little of them because, like I said, it's just not that interesting to me. But I did try.
The funny thing is honestly, there's the whole subtle aspect of Iron Man that it's not the suit that makes him an Iron Man.
Yeah, it's
what he's doing to prevent his own death.
Yeah.
He's got iron trying to kill him. Metal shrapnel, right?
Yeah.
And that core, that it's not
it's magnetized power core thing.
I've watched the movie so many times that I'm like, now I can't think of the fucking name. Midget, throw it out to me because I'm going to say flux capacitor for the time being, and it's like
he needs to maintain 88 miles per hour in order to stay alive.
I got to come back to the future. But anyway,
it's like Speed, but like Iron Man instead.
The arc reactor that he has in his chest, right? So that's keeping him alive from the iron that's going to kill him. This and it's like, that a woman can't do that. That doesn't need the same thing.
But she's like
Iron Heart. Does she have an Iron Heart?
But she's a black 16-year-old, genius, so it's fine.
Tony Stark is Iron Man.
Well, yeah, she's Iron Heart. It's fine. It's different.
They were pushing it when they put out what was it?
Oh my
the
God!
Iron Patriot? No.
I don't know.
What is he called now?
God, talking to the mic, asshole.
I can't. I was putting out your cigarette.
Oh, my cigarette.
You're the reason I smoke.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, it's it's all changed. But that wasn't his vision. This isn't. They tried so hard to make Riri Iron Man. They did.
They did. Yeah, I'm sure. Tried so hard.
It was the beauty of it was people, and occasionally a hero would get killed off, but the only reason a hero really got killed off was because of popularity.
Yeah.
I remember when they killed off John Proudstar in the X-Men, the new X-Men, when they failed, she's Ironheart. Exactly. Mm-hmm. But John Proudstar with the new X-Men, when they relaunched him in issue 96 of the X-Men, right? And he's one of them, but they killed him off 2 episodes later, two issues later, because he wasn't that popular, and they needed a little bit. They wanted a little punch, and they wanted to minimize the size of the group. These are suppositions for me to a certain extent, but he wasn't a very popular character because he was just.
Sure.
He was a strong Native American Indian, and nobody wanted that.
And you're against that
because his power wasn't fueled by firewater.
Wait, was he the one?
Now that was a kind of that could have been considered a.
Was he the one that would like grow like really big?
No.
Oh, that's a different guy.
Yeah, that was Giant Man.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of in the name. Well, Ant-Man, Hank Pym, he was Giant Man. Then he was Ant-Man. It's the whole thing. There was a evolution of that hero, but
I want some fire water.
No, Proudstar. He had heightened senses, and he was tough skin. He was very strong.
Right.
Native American, but he wasn't fueled by firewater, so I guess he didn't get the popularity. Killed the engine.
Yeah. Wow, that's horrible of you to say.
Well,
can't believe you just brought out your true beliefs just now.
I wonder if that maybe that was Stanley's motivation. Wanted to kill off the Indian.
Maybe.
You know.
Yeah.
Poor Stan hated Indians.
Hated everybody except for straight white men. I don't know if you know.
And women with
well,
big
yeah, that's what I
breasts.
said. He hates everyone except. Oh, I guess yeah. He doesn't hate women with big breasts, but nobody really does. But I mean, I guess I'm more of an ass man. I'm not a big fan of huge tits. It's just
yeah,
not.
I know. You're an ass man, so tits don't really matter. In fact, if I'm thinking correctly, knowing you, smaller breasts might be the better thing.
Yeah.
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 I mean, that's
for your boy fetish.
They have to be. They have to be proportional. You know, they can't be like super tiny. You know what I mean? And have a big ass. You know, you gotta have a little.
What if she's got a great ass and a flat chest?
I can work with that.
See?
I can work with it. It wouldn't be my favorite, you know.
Yeah, right, but see. But yeah, you know, I always thought they were stretching it when they made She-Hulk. I was like, well, we've got a Hulk, and she's a lawyer. I mean, it's one thing.
You don't think women can be lawyers?
No, a lawyer being finding a way for a female lawyer to become a Hulk.
Yeah.
John loves him some DFC.
I'm not exactly sure.
Dark fucking chicken?
Maybe.
You like dark meat, John?
Yeah, I do like Hispanic girls, but they're not always
We're
that
talking
dark.
about chicken. I just said chicken. Dark fucking chicken.
I do like chicken.
Okay.
I'm more
dark
of
meat or light meat?
But I'm more of, I think, a white meat, right?
Breast or thigh?
Thigh.
That's dark meat.
Is it? No. The whatever the fucking, I like the leg. Like the
That's
chicken
dark
leg.
meat.
Is it? Then I guess
Yes.
that's what I like. I don't fucking know, man.
Do you know the difference between white meat and dark meat?
Not really.
Why there's dark meat?
Delicious flat chest. Oh, okay. Yeah. No. It's more about the ass though than the tits. You know. You know, she's got bigger breasts. I don't mind. Like, I'm
Why
not
do
gonna be
chickens
against
have
it.
dark meat and light meat?
I have no idea.
Really?
No, I have no idea.
It's a biological thing.
Is it?
Yeah. Because they use their legs.
Oh, so like it gets more
blood flow.
Yeah.
Which colors the meat.
Makes sense.
The muscle, yeah.
It makes sense.
The breast never gets used.
Nice.
And their asshole is black.
I bet. I bet.
At least when I get done with it, it is.
Chicken fucker. Yeah.
Chicken fucker. All right, so hey, you know, if you've got anything negative to say about Stan Lee, this is one time I'll say I don't want to see your comments because it'll just piss me off.
I do.
Well, send them to John directly. Let me give you his personal email. But, you know, Stan Lee was great. And if you don't think Stan Lee was great, then you don't know the man. And the way you don't know the man is because you didn't read the man's comics.
Right.
Because the man had a large say in what went out in his comic books. And even took the time to fucking talk to his readers.
Yeah.
And really tell his readers what he fucking thinks.
Oh, hey, Cameron.
That's right, Cameron. You talk, brother. Stan Lee was a cool dude. He was the coolest of them. You had to be really cool to fucking make Iceman.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. But now he's all gay.
Think of the characters, though.
Yeah. No, he came up with some of the most iconic characters.
How many there are, right?
On the planet of all time. They're some of the most iconic characters of all time. I mean, that's really impressive.
And you know, it was a long time till you started seeing kind of duplicate powers, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even if somebody had a similar, the same power as somebody else, there was something. They also had some little quirk to it, this, that, or the other, that set them apart. Yeah. It wasn't like they were just cookie cutter and a bunch of strong heroes out there.
Right.
Dude, half the X-Men were women. Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Half the X-Men were women.
And if I'm not mistaken,
Kitty Pryde.
if I'm not mistaken, Storm was a woman of color.
She was. She was kind of dark. She was from Africa.
Yeah.
So was Black Panther. Hello.
Yeah, that too.
He was, it's in his name.
Yeah. It's true. But no, apparently
the team was led by a black woman. Actually, that was later on. The first, the team was originally run by a white male in Scott Summers as Cyclops.
Yeah.
So it was originally run by him. Storm did take it over in the team, but Wolverine led the team for a while.
Yeah, it seemed like he was always kind of sidelined. Cyclops. Black Panther movie 3 out of 5 stars. That's fucking racist of you, Cameron. How dare you?
You know what? I think he's being generous.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that great.
I think he's being generous because and I'm telling you something right now. Wakanda was not that technologically advanced.
Yeah, it really wasn't.
His suit was black cloth.
Not only that, but it was an
That's all it was.
It was an ethno state as well, Wakanda.
Yeah,
It was an ethno state,
they were
which we're against, right? Aren't we against ethno states?
Why do you always have to fucking do that?
It's true though.
Is it?
Wakanda?
Are you being
ethno
serious
state?
right now, John?
Well,
or are you
I'm
just
being
being
serious.
a fucking douchebag?
I'm being serious. That
Are you being a
Wakanda-
serious douchebag?
Yes, that one. I am serious that it was an ethno
Mithril
state.
scale vest.
Mithril. Yeah, that's a good nerd reference. Mithril.
Mithril.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
Bilbo. Bilbo.
Dildo Baggins.
Hey, don't
Dildo
knock-
Saggins.
Don't.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with the Hobbit, dude. Don't shit on Tolkien.
Bilbo was a bitch.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
He kicked a fucking dragon's ass by standing around telling somebody else to shoot a fucking arrow.
Yeah, sounds like he was, not a doer, but a teller.
He got a bird to help him.
Wasn't a very good leader. See, he was kind of.
Shut up,
Was
Cameron.
kind of a bitch.
Nobody wants to hear your shit.
Bilbo was a bitch.
Look, he. What was it they used to? What was they used to call it? Hero by happenstance.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. He was. But you know what? He held an impromptu fucking dinner
That was
for a whole
forced
shit
upon
ton
him.
of dwarves.
It was forced upon him.
Yeah, and bounced right back from that shit.
It was forced on him. He didn't want to. Yep, the whole Baggins lot. All about Samwise.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because Sam was like, and I'm going to say this from the book standpoint. It was from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. To a certain extent, they had it dead on in the movies.
Yeah.
Because Sam was, Jesus Christ, I don't know why he married a woman. Why he wound up marrying a female hobbit. Because he really wanted to marry Bilbo, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, it was also a different time, so they didn't really accept that sort of thing.
Right.
I don't know.
I've never seen two friends so fucking in love. It's
Oh,
not even
yeah.
funny. It's like, it'd be like you and I just like cuddling after the show. That's
Well,
how bad
don't
it
tell
was.
everyone. Fuck.
I didn't say we did, John. Now you just fucked everything.
Jesus.
Now they know. Just because I like to snuggle into that nice warm beard of yours.
It's true. It's very cozy. You can run your fingers through it.
If you stood on your head, you'd look like you had a whole nother
And hair.
face
Yeah.
with a head of hair, with an
And a
actual
beard.
head of hair.
Right. A smaller beard.
Right. But if your hair fell down, it'd still look like a fucking mullet.
Probably. I told you I'm going for the skullet.
It's
Want it
working.
bad. Yeah.
You're
want it
there.
bad.
You're getting there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think the diversity can't be understated in Marvel Comics, and it appalls me that anyone would shit on that man's name.
Yeah.
It
It is
appalls
really
me.
unfortunate.
And like I said, I dare anybody to say something bad about Stan Lee to me, because I will defend that motherfucker till my dying breath. He was an integral part of my life growing up.
Yeah.
And these fuckers can't say the same thing.
No, not at all.
They really can't. I hope that he is the fucking sun that melts their snowflake ass.
Yeah. Good luck.
Well. But anyway, so check out the story. So you can see what kind of shit-tards there are out there talking shit about Stan Lee, and make sure and check out all his cameos if you haven't seen every single one of them. I'm pretty sure I'm close to having seen every single one. I'm going to go back through and see if there's any that I don't recognize. But
Yeah.
I always watch for Stan Lee.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's what's going to break my heart.
It's like
now.
a Where's Waldo. But no, the thing is, from what I heard, and I can't obviously verify this, but from what I've heard, he's filmed several cameos for
Upcoming
upcoming.
cameos,
Right.
yes.
So, I mean, you're going to see it a few more times at least.
And let's hear it for Ballsy, right?
For Ballsy.
Yeah, that's that narcissism
yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
Well,
he knew he was going to die soon.
right.
So he's like, well,
He's like-
I don't want to stop being in the movies. You
Right.
know? So,
How do you remember a legend by that legend not going away
yeah.
for a long fucking time? Where's Michael Jackson popping up? Nowhere.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is Elvis popping up? Nowhere.
Well, Elvis is still alive. And that's
Well,
where
that's what they had to go with,
that's
right?
where Michael Jackson went too, to the
You
same
know.
island that they're all
But-
chilling on with Biggie. You know.
Now, the first Marvel flick that comes out that has a cameo by Stan Lee in it, I want to watch and see if the conspiracy starts.
Yeah.
Stan Lee's still alive. He was in this movie.
Oh yeah, he's still alive at 95. I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna.
My
work.
next door neighbor's 96.
Okay, I mean, yeah, people live slightly longer, but it's not gonna be like a 50-year, conspiracy theory.
Elvis is still alive, and the
He's the-
EU wants an army.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
true. Yeah, it's a fucked up world we live in, man.
maybe Elvis could run their army,
I'm-
and Prince could be, like his second in command.
I mean, I know Elvis was in Vietnam, but I don't think he's got a lot of military experience, leadership experience at least, especially on the strategic level. I'm not sure that's a good idea. Dead air.
But you were able to love him tender while he was in the military, so he wasn't a hard ass.
Yeah.
He had to keep up the, image.
Yeah.
Love me tender, love me sweet, never let me go.
Oh yeah.
And see, Prince could be a second in man.
It's more of
Michael.
I was gonna say it's more of a Michael Jackson thing than a
Well, they could.
Prince
Well,
thing.
they would have to be equal. They would both have to be equal. So yeah,
But they
Michael
were
could be there.
similarly fucked up.
I think they
in the
both
head.
made that sound though.
Maybe.
Prince used to do a lot more fucking in his music. Michael Jackson just made you laugh because he wanted to act like he would
Yeah.
fuck. Well, something other than boys.
Yeah.
Not that he did that.
Allegedly.
Not that he built a fucking fantasy land for kids to come and play.
Yeah.
There's a discussion.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they found the sex doll that was dressed up in Boy Scout clothing in his
Nice.
bedroom.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Was that proven, or is that just another?
No, that's
conspiracy?
something that they found. Whether or not it was, in evidence or not during the, trial and stuff, I don't know. But I know that they found that. And I know that if the police found something like that in either your bedroom or mine, everyone would assume we were fucking it.
No.
Just saying.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's where I practice my leadership skills.
Have a little audience.
It's good to have an audience.
Yeah. You can't just look in the mirror like everybody else.
Just real quick, Midget B. Favorite Marvel hero of all time? Cameron. Likewise? Let's hear from our audience. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Mine's Wolverine. I've already said it. John wouldn't have one because,
I don't care all that much.
he can't read.
Yeah, I'm illiterate.
Just understand he can't read.
It's true.
I would agree. You listen to all your books.
Well, now. I used to read all the time.
I've never heard that. I heard of that all the time. Is that a book or
No.
magazine?
I used to read, very often. Including in school.
Wolverine is not kind of easy. He was a very complicated person. The reasons I like him have nothing to do with his powers. It was his history.
Yeah.
Because he was a badass motherfucker.
Sure.
And back then, you didn't have the impression that Wolverine would live forever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was, he's a badass. He was a fucking ninja.
Yeah.
He was a fucking ninja. They don't even play that up in the fucking movies. I'm like, why the fuck aren't you playing that up? That son of a bitch was ninja trained.
Didn't they do that in that one movie where I think they were in, Japan or something?
No.
And he was,
it
fucking up actual ninjas because they still have those.
He talked, there was history there, but you didn't really see, the real history that they imparted in his first miniseries. I have the T-shirt. If ever I got the greatest Christmas gift in the world, it would be the 4-part miniseries that they did of him back in the early 80s, where he went to Japan, and it was his first solo adventure in comics. And he dealt with the Silver Samurai. He dealt with the Yakuza. He it was where I first saw him kill.
Mm. Hmm.
And it was also his first love, Mariko. The passionate love story that went on between the two of them and their history,
Yeah.
that brought all his history to light, and really truly made me appreciate who the fuck he was as a character. I mean, he was a deep character. It wasn't the same thing that you see so much. I mean, there was enough ambiguity that they could build what they build in the movies, right?
Yeah.
But he was extremely deep. It's nowadays it's easy for people. Kids will look at those movies and they're like, "Oh, he's really fucking cool." And I'm like,
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
You have no idea what it's like to be.
Well, that's how I
Wolverine.
feel with the Star Wars series that's been going on. You know what I mean? Like when and it's not their fault. When a kid comes into it and sees it for the first time, they're like, "Oh, that's so cool," and it's like, you have no idea because you've never read like the expanded universe.
Right.
Which makes them a lot cooler because they can do a lot of things that they can't do in the movies. It's a lot darker and a lot, there's a lot more information there, a lot more history.
Well, right. Yeah. Just it's the very first movie that they put out, part 4, New Hope, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they were killing moms before Disney, even though, Disney was doing it in cartoons, they were doing it in that. They were creating characters that had some real trauma, some real issues, some real story to them, the story that unfolded. But now they're just,
there's no depth to the characters now. It's just everything's on the surface.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no character development either. It's just kind of, this is the character. I'm a Mary Sue, and I'm going to just be perfect at everything I do. And I'm going to show how awesome I am.
And then bringing present-day social issues into things, and kind of, making those apparent. And I mean, who doesn't see the token feminist or the token black guy or the token Asian in these things? And it's like, I could imagine in a galaxy far, far away, long, long ago, there not being any black people. What galaxy was it? I mean, it could have happened. I was far enough stretched to just see humans.
Well, to be fair, they had tokenism, back in the original trilogy with Lando Calrissian. They had Billy D. Williams.
Well, I think they wound up having to start working that in. Yeah, they started pandering to that.
Well, I mean, and then also they had Princess Leia, who was a strong, independent woman.
She was.
Well, she still needed to be rescued.
But in her defense, she was a leader.
Yeah.
See, that's you already had that kind of thing. You had that in England, right? You had queens and things. This is not something that we weren't used to.
Right.
Women in power had to be strong, right?
Right. Well, I mean, those were hereditary titles. Having female leaders. Those were queens.
Princess Leia Organa was part of the Organa family who was over her planet, who was ruling her planet. So she was.
But she was elected to the Galactic Senate.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but she was a general in the rebellion, which was given to her by also a female leader. Mon Mothma was the leader of the rebellion. So, let's read this comment real quick from Midget B. Who doesn't see the resistance as parallel to current year Hollywood horseshit and the First Order as Trump's America? Yeah, absolutely.
That's like saying
it really is.
I mean, it would be like saying that nobody can see what the uniforms in Starship Troopers really indemnified.
Star Wars or Starship Troopers?
Starship Troopers. Have you ever seen it?
Oh, fuck yeah.
And what did
Have
the
you read the
uniforms
book?
look like?
Read the fucking book.
I have.
Read
what
the book.
What did the uniforms look like?
They were more utilitarian.
They were exact replicas of the fucking Nazis.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
The Third Reich. I mean, even Neil Patrick Harris, when he achieves his rank,
yeah, he's
had
walking
the
black
around
trench
in
coat
a fucking
and the
yes. They were fucking dressed like the Third Reich,
which is stupid because in the book they're not fascistic at all.
Well, no, except the fact that children were required to serve.
No, they were not required to serve.
If you wanted to be a citizen,
right?
you couldn't be a citizen if you didn't serve in the military.
Right, but
So that's, I mean, that's kind of a fascist thing.
it's not,
you don't,
though.
in a
Because
sense,
you still have
your
all your
vote doesn't.
basic.
You don't have a
That's
vote.
the only. That's like pretty
You
much
don't
the only
have a
thing.
voice
there's,
if you're not a citizen.
well, so the whole point of it, and we could get into in like an hour-long discussion about this, because that has recently become one of my favorite books, is the Starship Troopers book, because it's a political treatise disguised as fiction. So it's mostly about his history and moral philosophy class that he takes in high school. So like throughout the book, it flashes back, and somehow he remembers conversations word for word, But whatever.
You don't do that?
No, not like
Conversations is one of the few things that I do remember word for word.
Oh, yeah?
That's a sad thing.
that. Yeah, I guess. But yeah, no. I mean, as is explained in the book, it is not at all fascistic, and so you still have your basic human rights like freedom of speech, freedom of privacy. You can even own businesses. The main character, Juan Rico, his father got very wealthy never was a citizen. And so it's not like it's taking anything from you. It's just that they have the idea that you have to earn citizenship so that it means something to you, so that when you do vote, you don't vote just carelessly. You are informed. You're an informed and educated.
But if you
voter.
if you choose not to buy into that, then you don't have a voice. And that's how I relate it to fascism, because if you're not a fascist, in a fascist regime, you don't have a voice.
Right, but so
they will shut your voice down.
It's like the great leader Sargon said during his.
Say that again, and I will shut your fucking mic down.
Go
ahead, I will mute your ass.
I'm not going to say it again, but he did do like this whole video about the politics of Starship Troopers, and he said something that really shows that it's not fascistic, and that's in Starship Troopers they say service guarantees citizenship. Under fascism, it would be citizenship guarantees service, and that's the major difference.
I could see that.
Yeah.
All right, I get you. I understand. I don't like these whack job political ideologies anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
but
whack
no,
jobs.
And like he said, again, I'll do another little quote from him, is that it's more like a libertarian power fantasy than it is like fascism. It's more about individual freedom and developing the individual. But when you want to vote, you need to know what you're talking about. You need to be educated on the issues. And what their idea is that only citizens who have earned citizenship would have the best, they have the interests of the country or the state at heart.
Sure.
Whereas someone who's just given that from birth might not have the same appreciation.
So what you're saying is we should institute that here.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
I agree.
Yeah. It's actually very compelling.
Just like you shouldn't have an opinion on fucking Stan Lee unless you know the man.
Just like you shouldn't have an opinion on guns if you don't understand guns.
I understand guns completely, and I'm a pretty good fucking shot.
I don't know. I've not seen any evidence of this. Citation, please.
Start running.
What are you gonna hit me with an airsoft gun? Come on.
Let me show you what I can do with a moving target.
Oh yeah.
It's only a 22, so it won't hurt you bad. I'll just use the little guy.
Yeah. You gotta hit him in the leg. It's fine.
Yeah, no, you could hit somebody in the ass cheek. I think the ass cheek's the best place to shoot somebody.
Yeah, a lot of soft tissue.
They think
there.
about it for a while.
That's true.
Every time they sit down.
Yeah, like, oh yeah. Probably shouldn't get shot in the ass.
But anyway, so we would love to hear your comments. We've had some pretty good comments tonight, interesting stuff. So those of you out there, if you like what you're hearing, hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're paying attention to what we're doing, because we're obviously not. We're just hanging on by a thread here.
Yeah.
They call it sanity, but it's loosely defined. John, I appreciate you bringing your pet with you tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get it to stay on your face for that long a period of time.
It's well trained.
Well trained.
Yeah. I feed it snacks every once in a while. I'll just be like, good job. And then pet it.
But we appreciate everybody taking part in the discussion with John and I, and we'd like to keep this discussion going off mic, and we hope you do the same. So,
Yeah.
one thing to keep in mind: things are probably going to be a little different the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be unavailable to do the show for the next couple of weeks. My wife's got to get surgery, so I've got to take care of her in that, and that's going to be a pretty trying experience for me dealing with that. But I think John might have a few things that he might throw at you, or not. You know, he
I'm
may
gonna
just.
I'm gonna try, but my work ethic isn't exactly the best.
Well, hopefully, my hope is that you don't get this stream mixed up with the one you do on the cam show.
Oh
for all
yeah.
the boys
Because
out
that'll
there,
get us
so
taken off of YouTube really quick.
that probably would. They don't like small things like that
Yeah.
on camera.
They're not a big
So,
fan.
I appreciate everything y'all are doing out there for us, and I'll look forward to speaking with you in a couple of weeks. John, I probably won't talk to you at all because God knows
Yeah.
that's just draining.
It's just absolutely
I
tiring.
mean, look at me
yeah.
now. I'm about to fall asleep just
Yeah.
listening to your drivel so far. But anyway, John, I appreciate you being here. Let's have ourselves a good night. And folks, you have a good night out there. John, where can they find us?
They can find us on Twitter at the Gen Gap P. We should actually start putting that in the description. I think that's a good idea.
Do we have a description?
We do have a description. We got one of those. We paid extra for it.
We did?
Yeah.
Awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I should put the links from the show in there.
What?
I'm
What a
living on
novel
the edge.
idea. No one does
Right. It's very technologically advanced
It
for me.
is.
I've considered just putting in there, Google it.
Yeah. Just put a link to Google in there and just like, here you go.
All right, folks, have yourselves a good night, and I'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks.
All right. See you guys. Have a good night.